What's up, gamers? Hey Rocky, hey Bakugan. Let's finish this stream PC today, shall we, and get back to work. Let's get these machines going. Let's get these CPUs and GPUs pumping out some videos and things. The ADHD jingle. I need to add some more tracks to this Gamer Jam playlist. There aren't many tracks on it, so a little repetitive, but they're good jams. The problem is finding music that I can use without getting in trouble. And I know that these tracks that I have here never get me in trouble, so that's why I use those. I'm alert for a while, got stuff to do still. No worries, Mr. Vital, thanks for the lurk. Yeah, usually when I stream at this time, there are lots of lurkers, but that's fine, you know. People can always catch up with the VODs. I just think it's best to get this stream PC built as soon as possible, and this was the soonest I could go live today. Soonest I could have gone live. But I'm feeling good, gamers. I'm looking forward to this stream. I'm going to put the ads on for 3 minutes to disable the pre-roll ads, so that anyone joining the channel doesn't have to watch ads, so I'll see you in 3 minutes from now. Hello, No Eyes. Welcome. You still have no eyes? Or did you find some? Add some royalty-free violin music. That sounds good. That might be a good idea. I think I want ambient, nerdy music, like, you know, gaming themed and, you know, medieval themed. Maybe some tavern music. Maybe some bardcore. Have you heard of bardcore? It's like music, like a, you know, hardcore or punk music or whatever, but it's kind of like done in the style of, you know, a bard at a medieval tavern or something. That's kind of cool. I like bardcore. Although I think it will probably be hard to find bardcore that's royalty free, because I think people make that to make money, you know. It's quite a popular, you know, genre at the moment, I think. I might be able to find some. You know, sometimes people, they offer a lot of royalty-free music to get their name out there. It works. It does work if the stuff is good, you know. Then their name does get out there. Although music's a highly competitive space, I mean, I think it would be really tough to be a musician. Probably the same as streaming, you know, having to work for 9 or 10 years to see any kind of results from it. At least in the making a living sense. That's how long I had to grind on the streams, you know, 9 or so years. Rocky says, have you heard the marathon theme from Bungie? No. What's marathon theme? You say it's from Bungie. Is this from Destiny? Because I'm not too familiar with anything from Destiny. I was a big Halo player. Halo 1, 2, 3, I played Reach. I played Halo 4 and I played Infinite. So, yeah, I played quite a few Halo games. Unfortunately, after 3, they kind of took a nosedive in quality. Although I will say I liked Halo 4's campaign. I did like Halo 4's campaign, I just wasn't a fan of the multiplayer. There's something felt wrong with it compared to like past titles. But I think the campaign was pretty solid. I liked the new enemy types in Halo Infinite. I thought they were interesting. And they didn't diverge too much from the Halo 3 formula in that one. Because, you know, they were given the IP to, you know, take the reins of it, and I think they tried to stay true to what Halo already was. And they added a few more enemy types in, and I think the campaign was actually quite fun. From what I remember. I'm ranting about Halo now. My Gramps still plays Halo to this day. I really wish, you know, that they brought back Halo 3 online. Like, brought it back for real. Not this, like, garbage, you know, Master Chief Collection hollow version of Halo 3. I mean, like, the real Halo 3. I'm talking every feature functional. I'm talking, like, the game being supported, you know? Like it was back then. Or at least maybe a modern Halo with that, at that kind of quality level, you know? We didn't quite get that with Infinite. Well, we didn't get it at all. Let's be honest, but it would have been nice if we did. I really thought they were going to do something with Infinite, you know? I really thought this is it, you know? This is going to be a great Halo game. It looks like they're really pulling out all the stops, but it turns out that they left the stopper in, and they definitely didn't pull it out for that game. They did a good job making maybe a quarter of a game. That's what they did. They made about a quarter of what you would expect from a Halo game and called it a Halo game and then released it. I was like, where's the rest of the game, you know? I bet he's playing right now, your Gramps. Nice. He grinds online, the only game he plays. So he's probably playing one of the newer ones, right? Like Infinite. Rocky says, I'm curious to see how Bungie does an extraction shooter. Me too. You know what? I don't know if the extraction shooter genre is that popular, is it? I know that a lot of people really like it. It has hardcore fans, but I feel like the extraction shooter genre hasn't really hit its mainstream audience yet, really. Well, it hasn't hit a mainstream audience. It hasn't hit a large audience, I don't think. But extraction type games, they seem kind of interesting to me. I've only tried Tarkov, and Tarkov has such a steep learning curve that, you know, I never quite got over the learning curve. I was a noob the whole time I played. So I was just getting killed, but it was kind of cool. The game was cool. Anyway, gamers, let's get to the stream, shall we? I think it's about time. What's up, gamers? Welcome to KorokuGaming, the best channel on YouTube and Twitch, except all the other ones, of course, but we don't talk about those. Today, we're going to build the rest of the stream PC. I think this will be the last episode. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We should get the PCs running today, and then we can get back to work, baby. Making videos, making streams. That's what we want to do. So yeah, the PC. I found this SATA cable that's going to help us, because we do need one of those. I thought about that today. I think I need a SATA cable, so I went rummaging around in boxes and found one somewhere. I think I also found another SATA cable, this one, and I think it might be a SATA 3 cable. I don't think it's a SATA 6 gigabit per second cable, which is what we need. Yeah, Yeah, this one is almost certainly a 6 gigabit per second cable because it's black. Yeah, it is. It even says on it, SATA 6G. So I think this might be a 3G cable. I'm not sure if 3G cables work in 6G ports at full speed. They might do. But yeah, I think this is a 3G cable. This one. 3G cable, old style. This was probably from my first ever PC build. It might be a 3G cable. But yeah, okay. Let's do this shit. You should watch the marathon trailer. Looks unique. Okay, let's do that. The next ad break, which will be in... it says up here usually, doesn't it? It will be in 55 minutes. So in 55 minutes, I'm going to check that trailer out. Please remind me if I forget. Sometimes I do forget these things, but it's not like I do it on purpose, you know? I'm just dumb. Sometimes. All the time. Half the time. Most of the time. Something. Yeah. Okay, 55 minutes on my clock there. Actually, for some reason it put 53 minutes. I didn't choose that. Silly watch. There you go, 55 minutes. 53 minutes again? My watch is glitching, dude. I'm selecting 55-minute timer. And it's doing a 53. 55. Press play. Definitely 55. Play. Okay, that time it worked. My watch is trying to trick me, dude. I definitely put it... So it went 53, then I was like, that's weird. I cancelled the timer, put 55. Start. 53 again. What the fuck? Third time's the charm, I guess. Hey, Ali McDougal, how you doing? Hey, gang. Hey, gang. Hey, Sanguine Queen. Nice to have you back in the PC building, stream. PC streaming build. Hey, Kumal. Hey, thank you so much for the sub. Woohoo! You honor me. And yeah, as like last time, we have the cool PC building scene, of course, where we're going to build the PC. Amazing. But first, I need to get the PC. And actually, it looks funny from this scene if I do this, so I'm going to do this from this scene. So the PC is here. I find this funny watching myself do this. Ta-da! Didn't look as funny as yesterday. Yesterday I found it hilarious watching myself pick up the PC. It looked funny. Okay, so we got this bad boy. This is the stream PC that we're building. We had pretty good progress yesterday. We made pretty good progress. Look at that, CPU coolers on there. We got the RAM installed. We got the SSD installed down here. The XPG thingy there, it's like a stick of gum here. We've got the cables installed, most of them, but we need to connect these cables here, the power switch cable and the reset switch cable. They need to be connected, although to be honest, I never really use the reset switch. Does anyone use the reset switch these days? To be honest, the only time I use the power switch is to turn on the thing, and then I usually shut down from the operating system, or I restart from the operating system. So I'm not really pressing the reset switch ever, so maybe I won't even bother wiring it up. But I probably will, just for old time's sake, you know, but not something I really need to do. So we got the fans here. This fan up here isn't in position though. It's sliding around, so we need to screw this in. Please make sure I don't forget to do that, gamers. And anything else? We need to wire up the hard drives. So what should I do first? I think first, what we should do is perhaps tidy up these cables that are a mess up here. So I'm going to give you a closer look inside using my special camera. Special camera. So you see all these cables? They're messy. Messy, messy cables. These messy cables. We're going to clean them up. We're going to tuck them in those holes at the back that you can see light escaping through. Grommeted holes. So there's a rubber grommet, so they'll feed through there. And any more cables we need to clean up? Not really. Those are tidy up there. No, it's just these ones. So we tidy up these first because they look very messy and horrible. These are the CPU fan cables. So we've got one fan here, one fan here. These are cooling towers. So they've got aluminum fins, or aluminium, depending on where you're from. I use aluminium because I'm UK based. and born and bred and everything. Yeah, so these fans blow air this way through here, and it cools down the CPU. CPU is at the bottom of these towers. These towers are clamped down onto the CPU. That's what we were doing yesterday. And yes, I'll tidy these cables up. I'm going to go back to the main cam. Whoa, wrong cam. There we go. You saw the ceiling for a second. So yeah, tidying these cables. Let's do that. Let's do this. That's right, Sander. Hey, Dolulu. What parts did you go with? So for this PC, it's a, there's some old parts here from older PCs we've had in the house, and also some newer parts. So the newer parts being the CPU cooler. We didn't have a CPU cooler for this PC before, so it wouldn't run, of course. What else is new in here? Nothing. Oh, the hard drive. The hard drive. So 16 terabyte hard drive is new. And yeah, everything else is used parts, so parts we already had. So the graphics card is a old RTX 2080, which is still a pretty good card, and it's good enough for a stream PC for sure. In fact, it's probably overkill for what I need this PC for. The CPU is a Ryzen 3800X, so that's an older PC, older CPU now as well, but again, still very capable and probably overkill for what I need it to do. Actually, to be honest, CPU-wise, it's probably not overkill. It's probably just about what I need, because I do a lot of CPU-intensive shit. Hey, Duke Zeno! Duke Zeno, what the heck? Thank you, Duke Zeno, for the community gift sub donations. 2 community gift subs. My goodness. And Kuhnwall, thank you for the Prime sub. Oh my goodness, subscribe for 2 months you have been. And thank you, Smoke and Jam, for the gifted sub yesterday to Petite Lolita. Thank you, guys. I'll bow to this one. I'm going to do a proper Japanese bow. Ready? Deep bow of admiration. That's good for the hamstrings. No wonder in Japan and Asian countries they can all do the squat thing, because they're stretching their hamstrings every day doing this. Bloody good for the hamstrings. More ceiling cam. Okay. There you go, gamers. I hope you enjoy. GoBot is calling for ceiling cam. I'm just kidding. Don't worry, you won't have to watch the paint, the dry paint. It's even worse than watching paint dry, watching dry paint, because it's not even doing anything, it's just there. At least watching paint dry, you're watching something happening, you know? Hey, Schmoist. Schmoist is now a Korok. Thank you, Schmoist, for accepting the sub. What exactly will you be using this PC for? This PC is for offloading and encoding tasks. So when I'm video editing, I can make this PC encode the video so I can then work on the main PC editing. I don't have to leave. So before, if I were encoding a video, I'd have to leave this PC because I can't really edit at the same time. Just not enough resources left. So now I can offload tasks to this PC and it can work while I work. Also, this can actually run the stream while I play the game on this PC. So, for example, if we're playing a hard-to-run game, the main PC can be using all of its horsepower. Horsepower is the wrong word, but you know what I'm getting at. It can use all of its horsepower for rendering the game. And then this PC will handle the stream. And it also means if we crash on the game, we don't lose the stream. So it's actually extremely useful as a streamer to have a 2-PC setup. Most of the top streamers or even mid-sized streamers will have 2 PCs if they can, you know, because it's very useful. So yeah, before, say if our game crashed and it crashed the PC with it, the stream would go down. It's very annoying when that happens as a streamer. With this should stay running, so the game can crash, and I'll just crash and the PC will reset, but the stream will still be going, so I can be like, oh guys, the game crashed. I'll still be live, and then I'll get the, game up again. It's much easier. So basically, that's what it will be for. I hope that was a good explanation. It's been a long time coming. I've wanted a stream PC for, well, ever since I started, really, back in like 2016, 2017. I've wanted one for a long time, but this is the first time we've been able to get it going. The planets have aligned, basically. It's going to happen. We're going to have a stream PC, hopefully. That's if this boots. Dual PC setup, or will they be separate? Yeah, it's a dual PC setup, so this will run the stream, the other PC will run the game. That's basically how it works, and the audio will be handled by this. I have a Go XLR, I've had one for a long time, so the audio will be handled by the Go XLR. This PC is going to have a capture card inside, which will capture the output from the other PC, or from the console if I'm playing the Switch or something. Stream so early, what? That's right, because I've got to get this built as soon as possible. Hopefully we get a second stream this evening of actually playing a game. I don't know if that will happen, but I'm aiming for it. Let's see. Congrats on being able to. Thank you, Dolulu. It's actually a member of the community donated the parts to me, so that's how it's happening. So we can all thank Firemorph in the Discord. And, you know, they often join the streams as well, so just all thank Firemorph for this. It's thanks to them that I'm able to do this. Girlfriend feeling better, how is she? She is feeling better, yeah. She's feeling better. Thanks for asking, she's feeling better. So sweet of them, yes. Very crazy nice of them, yes. I can't believe it really, but that's what happened. Okay, gamers. So what did I say I was going to do? Tidy up these cables. I still haven't done that yet. So we're going to feed these, like I said, through the back side. You can actually kind of see what my hands are doing through the top grate, can't you? Look at that. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here, using my hands to feed this through. So originally I was going to build this PC completely off stream, but then people in the chat, they kind of express interest in watching me, you know, build the PC. So I immediately, as best as I could, set up some PC building stream. I set up a PC building stream, sorry. And yeah, this is now part 5 of this. And I've made it better as we go. So I figured out this cam thing where I can use my phone as a camera. So that's very cool. Of course, the first few episodes we had to do phone only. So I was actually streaming from my phone, which was very annoying because there are no good apps for streaming from a phone. If any of you want to make some money making apps, a good app to make, I think, would be a mobile streaming app that can use browser sources, just like OBS can. If any of you can make that and design that, I think it would be excellent. I've got to go get ready for class, but good luck. See you, Dolulu. Enjoy your class. It has been interesting to see you in different angles and non-game content. Thank you, Montagonian. I hope interesting in a good way, not a bad way. Also has been informative. Oh, thank you, Montagonian. Okay, so next on the agenda, we've got this cable through. That's all good. So that's tidy. I'll show you how that looks through the back. Okay, there we go. So I'm just tucking these. I often do this move. So I'm tucking these up behind the rails for how the case, where the case slides on, where the side panel, sorry, slides on. So I'm tucking these up here. Dolulu says, before I go, I second what you said about phone streaming. I use mine as my cam. There are no options. Yeah, so using it as a cam is quite good. So I'd recommend Droid Cam if you have an Android phone. It seems much better than the other options right now. So Droid Cam, it's a paid app, unfortunately, unless you want a watermark. So I had to pay £10 for it. Not too bad. It was a lifetime payment. What do you call it? So it will last. Well, it's supposed to last a lifetime, not a subscription or anything. So that's all right. But yeah, streaming just from the phone, like using a streaming app on the phone, such as Stream Elements, Streamlabs, or Twitch's app itself, it's very, very limited and very glitchy and doesn't work right. So Streamlabs, for example, didn't work at all on my phone. It was awful. And my phone's not it's not like a new phone. My phone's kind of old now and it's quite a popular model. It's a Pixel 8 Pro. So I reckon that phone should be quite well supported by apps, shouldn't it? Should be quite well supported, but it doesn't seem like it is for the stream apps because they don't run properly. So I guess the apps just aren't popular enough for them to develop them or something. But I think if someone made a good app and maybe just charged like a reasonable amount for the app, they could probably make a lot of money. Because a lot of streamers would find it very useful to have a capable streaming app on the phone. So I'm just going to go to the toilet very quickly, gamers. I'm just going to blow my nose because it's running a little bit. I'll just leave my mic here so you don't have to listen to my nose blow. I'm back, gamers. I'm back. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, thank you so much for the support there, guys. I really appreciate the subs and primes. It's thanks to you that I'm able to stream, basically, so I owe my life to you, basically. I owe my living to you, my subsistence. See you, Delulu, yes. Hey, Fimorth, hey, welcome. Hey, 1,000 bits. Let's go. Whoa, wrong cam. Let's go. Now I break the PC. As repayment for the bits. Thank you. Thank you so much for the 1,000 bits. You honor me with this support. Thank you. Yeah, let's get a bit hyped today, shall we? I feel like I've been a bit too mellow recently. I'll start breaking stuff, throwing the PC around. No, I'm just kidding. Although that's a lot of streamers do stuff like that, and it's pretty entertaining. I can understand. I can understand. Okay, so USB 3. USB 3. I think people prefer me as a comfort streamer, so if I started acting too crazy, it's not going to be very popular, I don't think. If I change my style to like a speed stream. So we got this USB 3 connector. This is for the front panels. We need to plug this in. So let's do that. I'll check where the header is on this motherboard. I see it. It's in the bottom right corner. So it's in the bottom right corner. So I'll come in here. I've thread the wire through this grommet here, and I'll pull it through the front now. There's a lot of going back to front on this PC. That's kind of normal, actually. You tend to go back to front. So this might be a bit of a tight fit. I remember this being a tight fit on this motherboard. So basically, just to show you what's going on here that's kind of annoying, it will fit, but the USB 3 header is right there on the motherboard, and look at the angle I have to get it in. So it's going to be right up against this grommet, and there's going to be, it's going to be a tight fit to actually get it plugged in there. But I will do that. It fit before, it'll fit again, but it's just kind of an annoying fit. It really it hardly even works, but it does work, kind of thing. Thank you so much, Night Creepy, for the support. That's amazing, thank you. So, let's plug this in. Boom. Actually, that wasn't as difficult, but maybe it's because it's been in there before, I remember this being a very annoying fit, but I think because it's been in there before, actually, no, it's not in properly. Hang on. I have to really plug this in as hard as I can. I'm plugging. I've plugged in now. It's still not plugged in. Yeah, so this is what, I knew this was annoying. I remembered correctly. So yeah, a bit more force required, I think. Come on, you can go in, can't you? It's almost like it, maybe that's as far in as it's going to go. It feels like the plug is half in, but maybe that's as far, and it looks like it's half in, but maybe that's as far as it wants to go, and it will, as long as it still works, then it's all right. Yeah, we've definitely applied quite a bit of force to this USB 3 header. I hope it works. I hope it's functional. If not, it's not the end of the world. USB 3 headers on the front, they're not in, I mean, USB ports on the front of the case, they're not required, but they are nice to have. What I could do is take out the rubber grommet, then it would easily fit. But then getting the rubber grommet back in would be a nightmare. Why do you need another PC, Koroku? So often streamers will have a 2 PC setup. What this means is that you run the stream off one PC, such as this one. That's what I'm building this for. And the other PC you run the game on, or whatever you're showing the audience. And what this helps with is it helps with stability, right? Because say if the main PC crashes because I'm running something hard like a game on it, which, they can crash at any moment. We all know how PC gaming works. You can crash at any moment, especially if it's a new game. If the game crashes, it won't take the stream down with it. The stream will be running on this. So that's one of the reasons. It also means improved latency. If you're playing a competitive game, the main PC can run full tilt. You'll get the lowest input lag possible, and the stream will run here. If you run a stream with the game at the same time, that will introduce input lag. So just using NVIDIA NVENC, which is what we use to record the games, using the graphics card, right? Just using that will introduce input lag. So yeah, it helps with competitive games as well. So it helps there. Also, I'm going to use it to offload encoding from my main PC. So when I'm editing video, I'm going to send the encodes to this PC, and then I can continue editing. So it's going to save me a lot of time with editing. It's going to actually improve my workflow like tenfold. It's going to be crazy. So It's going to be very, very useful. What GPU is it going to have? It's going to have an RTX 2080. Still a very good GPU, and it'll definitely do the job for what I'm requiring from this PC, so happy days. Early stream? Heck yeah, Smoke and Jam. Early stream. And yeah, we just plugged in the USB 3 header. Now, the front panel. So I'm going to plug the front panel wires in. Then I'm going to show you guys what I've done with the close-up cam again. So, front panel wires. So all we really need, these are the front panel wires. They're basically a load of small wires that come from the case. There they are. So these are power LED. We don't need to use these because that's for the LEDs. So I don't care about LEDs. I don't like them. This is the power switch. So we need this. So the power switch needs to plug into the power switch header on the motherboard, which are two little pins that are labeled usually. If they're not labeled, I have to look up the motherboard manuals to find the right ones. So we need the power switch, and we also need the reset switch, which is here. So I'm going to feed these through to the front, to the motherboard and plug them in. They plug in at the bottom of the motherboard, so if you look from behind, it's here, so I need to thread them through here somewhere. Probably through this grommet here. Or maybe there's probably a hole under here, actually. There's a hole right here that I might use. In fact, I probably will use. There's a hole underneath that I'm sticking my finger in. So yeah, we can thread these through here. And with the cables I'm not using, such as the LED cables, these are power switch, no, sorry, not that. This is a power switch. Power LEDs, I won't be using those, and I won't be using the HDD LEDs if this even has a cable like that. So I'm just going to feed those through. And happy days, then the PC should be able to turn on when we need it to. So reset switch, I'm just going to put the cables I'm not using to the side and we'll wrap those up. We'll tidy those up and leave them behind the motherboard because I'm not going to use them. So power switch we need. Let's get that, and we need, I found the HDD LEDs. We need the reset switch. So yeah, I typically don't plug LEDs in because I don't need my computer to have LEDs, to be honest. Especially on these cases, it's a very bright blue ring. Kind of just annoying. It's just light pollution in my eyes, really. It's light pollution for no reason, really. They used to be kind of useful back in the day because, you know, just to make sure your hard drive was actually working, doing work. But these days, it's less of an issue, I think. Hard drives pretty much do what you want them to do most of the time these days. But they were kind of useful a long time ago. They were useful diagnostic tools. Now they're not really needed. Not really needed. And the utility they even gave back then was questionable. You know, it's just like, would you want a nice flashing light on your computer that lets you know it's on? No, I don't need that. I can tell it's on when the fans are on, to be honest. That gives me enough indication. I mean, the fans are quite loud. Also, if there's any, you know, usually if the computers are on, the displays are on as well. I say early, it's 5 PM your time. Yeah, it's 5 PM my time, but that is an early stream for me because I usually go live at 7. That's my normal time. And I go live that time because it seems to be a good active time for a lot of people where they're online. It lets my US audience kind of drop in as well usually, and the EU audience at the same time, which is nice. And also it leaves me time during the day to get the stream set up, because if I commit to a time that's too early in the day, it's actually kind of hard to get the stream ready by that time, because often in the morning I'm running a lot of errands that I need to run. And often I don't even get a chance to start a stream until around 7. Today's a bit different. Today I could get on early, but some days it's a struggle to get on early, at the moment anyway. So those hard drive, sorry, the power switch and the reset switch are through. So I'm just going to find them here. I'm going to find them on the front panel. Now, this front panel does not tell me what it does. So I might have to look up the manual. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look up the manual here because the front panel here gives me no information. So we got to look at the B350 manual, which will be online somewhere. B350 manual. B350M manual, sorry. Is it the game? What motherboard is this? It's the B53M mortar. Okay, it should be easy to find. B350M mortar. Manual. Should be online somewhere still. Yeah, it's still on the MSI site. It's an MSI motherboard. So looking for the manuals. Found a manual here in English, lovely. And it's in a zip folder. I'm going to open it from the zip if I can. And we're going to look for the right page, and the right page should give us the, I've forgotten what panel this is. Is it called the front panel or something? I'm just going to type in panel. I have a feeling this is called like the panel. Oh, so Control F will find front, I think it's called the front panel. Yeah, front panel header, yes, front panel header. So it's telling me right here exactly what to do. I'm going to full screen this. Can you see that from the cam there? I'll just show you like this because I CBA to use my display capture. So here we go. Tells us where to put them. So the panel looks like this. It's the JFP1 panel header, sorry. And you plug in the cables like so. So here's a diagram. It tells you which pin does what. So I just got to read this diagram and match up the right pins to the power switch and the reset switch. Now, funnily enough, you can actually turn on a PC without the power button by shorting the pins. So if you find the right pins, all you need to do is short them by using a bit of metal. And if you put a bit of metal between the pins, it will turn on the computer. So that's useful if maybe you have a test bench PC without a power switch or anything. You can just short the pins and turn it on or even reset. So that's useful. I actually use that. I have a PC, I have a server PC that doesn't have a case. It's just like the motherboard out with nothing. And I often use a screwdriver to turn it on and off. So yeah, it's useful to know that. I thought I was having a stroke. The text is just backwards. Oh, has that happened again, has it? Sorry. So that's because, wait, are you, oh yeah, I know why. The scene is backwards. So I have a problem with this app mirroring the screen. Maybe I should Google that and see if we can stop it doing that, because it's very annoying. So Droid, stop mirroring. See if I can find a way to stop mirroring the cam. I'm going to turn off mirroring front cam. See if I can fix that. To stop mirroring the front cam, there's an AI overview here. You need to access your phone's native camera settings. Okay, so mirror front cam. So I need to go into my camera settings and turn off the mirror. Apparently it works based on my camera settings, so let's see if that's true. I somehow doubt this, but maybe it is true. So camera settings, more settings. Advanced, maybe. Save selfie as previewed, self-save as they appear in the viewer. No, I don't like that, but that's not on. So video. There's no setting in here for the selfie thing. So that's a bit of a problem. So I don't see any settings there. Maybe on the pro settings, more settings. Nope, nothing there. So there's no setting to change from a non-mirrored on a Pixel 8 Pro. That is quite annoying. Quite annoying. So maybe if I actually go to video here, maybe if I go to video, whoopsie. If I go to the actual video mode, maybe here I can find it. Nope, don't see it. Yeah, so I don't think my camera has a way to not mirror. So hopefully the app adds it one day. Because there's no way that I can do it from my camera settings. Kind of annoying. But if I can't do it with my camera settings, I guess I'll just do it manually for you guys. That works too, I guess. Maybe I have to be on the selfie cam and then I do settings, right? Because that's definitely mirrored. That's definitely mirrored. Definitely mirrored. Nope, there's no setting. No setting, what a waste of time. Thank you, AI, Google, whatever. The AI Google thing wasted my time. But I can just do this manually for you guys. So when I switched cam, if I need you to read text, I can just flip the camera. What are you trying to achieve, says Ramen Edits? Well, this selfie camera thing is flipped, it's mirrored. And I would like it to not be mirrored. However, it doesn't seem like I can do that. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I can do... Unless, maybe this? No. No, there's no way I can see. Maybe on the crop settings here. Oh, shit. No, that's not right. What does this do? Guidelines. What does this do? Oh! I found it. Heck yeah. So now we can flip back the other way on OBS. Okay, I found a way to mirror on the app. We did it. So I'm now not mirrored, right? I'm not mirrored. No, I'm not mirrored because this hand is, yeah, it's not like a mirror anymore. So good, this is the right way around. But now this is the wrong way around on the stream. So we need to flip this again. Wasn't that working? Oh, it's targeting the wrong one. I know why. So I need to flip this one here. Transform, horizontal. And if you're wondering what I'm achieving with the PC, I'm building it. We're almost done. So we're on the last leg of this PC build. I'm just going to plug the power switch in. So where was that manual we had up? I need to look at that now. There it is. So look at the manual and figure out the switch. So I need to find the power switch, which says pin number 6 and 8. So I need to figure out whether it is. So 2, 4, 6, and 1, 3, 7. Wait, what? Oh, 6 and 8. So 2, I see, 1 to 9. So 1, 3, 6, no wait, 7, 9. 1, 3, 6, 7, 9, and 2, 4, 6, 8. So 6 and 8 are between 2 and 10. And that's for the power switch, right? Am I right? 6 and 8 power switch? Yeah, 6 and 8 power switch. So 6 and 8, which is here for the power switch. Beautiful, that seems right. That does seem right. Hang on, is this motherboard? Just thinking if this motherboard is actually screwed down properly. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Just kind of strange. It kind of bends in the corners. It's kind of loose in the corners, this motherboard. I guess it's a side effect of being a cheap motherboard. This was a cheap motherboard. It wasn't a premium one. And then I need to find where the reset switch goes. So looking at this, the reset switch is 5 and 7. So that means 1, 3. That's underneath the power switch. I think actually, like, usually this is the way they are. So the reset switch and the power switches are nearly always in the same place on these pins. So that's good to know. You can probably just memorize where they go. In most cases, you know. Or figure it out by fiddling if you can't be bothered to find the motherboard manual, which is usually easy, so I don't know why you'd be so inclined to do that. So that USB is plugged in. You know what I've just realized? There's another USB header we could use instead. I don't think I will use that one though. I kind of like that one that we used. But also we need to put the graphics card cables through. That should be fine. I mean, I might use a different USB header. So there's actually a second USB 3 header on this motherboard, which is kind of cool. That means we could probably find a USB 3 back panel that just uses a cable, which is useful if we can find that. If we can find one of those. I can expand the USB ports on this thing pretty easily, so that's nice. I think I will use this. I will use that USB 3 header, but I might get an expansion. Basically, you can get an expansion thing with USB ports, and then it just has a cable going to your motherboard. But typically, motherboards these days don't have 2 USB 3 headers. That was kind of an old school thing to do. This one has it, so that's kind of cool. Just hold up a mirror to the camera, way easier, true. But we fixed it. We actually found a way to fix it. I thought there would be a way. Thankfully, there was. So the AI, by the way, the Google AI overview was completely wrong. So DroidCam just has a mirror option right... Whoa! Has a mirror option right here. I just press... Where's it gone? Yeah, I press this. Boom, mirrored. I can also mirror top to bottom. Look at this. Oh, geez, I'm upside down. That's pretty cool. Thank you, DroidCam. So yeah, I would highly recommend DroidCam for all of your mirroring needs or whatever. It's beautiful. DroidCam is a fantastic app. Before I was using NDI-HX, which is a terrible app that wasn't working and was causing me a lot of trouble. I switched to DroidCam. Boom, it worked like a charm. Lets me use all my camera features. So thank you, DroidCam, for making my life easier. Looks good to me so far. Thank you, Ramen. New PC to replace your main one or secondary? Secondary PC. My main PC got some upgrades. We got more RAM and a new SSD. So this one's inheriting the old SSD. I'm using old RAM that's been around my house for a while. New hard drive though, courtesy of FireMorph, and new CPU cooler that's looking very nice here. A dual tower CPU cooler here. It's a Thermalright Peerless Assassin. By the way, if you're looking for a CPU cooler, it's got to be a Thermalright, dude. The prices and performance are so good. That is a bang for buck cooler, this cooler. The Peerless Assassin, so good. There's also the Phantom Spirit if you want a bit of an upgrade from the Peerless Assassin. It's got 7 heat pipes, which is a lot. This has 6 heat pipes. More is better, right? Not always, but in this case, probably yes. Hey Itzy, any ETM when you'll finish the build? I think this is the last stream, so probably in a couple of hours or so, we'll be done. Then I'll have to do stress testing, but I don't think I'll stream that. I don't think I'll stream the stress testing because it's just boring. But basically what the stress testing is I run certain tests on the computer to make sure it's working, and they take many hours. So you like run a program called memtest overnight. You see if the RAM picks up any errors, or the program picks up any errors in the RAM. If it picks up errors, your RAM is likely faulty. There's also Prime 95 for the CPU, where you run it for 24 hours. And if it runs for 24 hours, then your Prime 95 stable, which is a good indication of stability. There's also some other tests you can do. I like to really run the computers through the ringer to make sure they're very stable. So I put them through lots of scenarios, and if they crash, I have to change voltages and things in the BIOS, or, you know, replace faulty parts. But yeah, the stress testing, I won't be showing that because I just think it's, you know, it's going to be hard to make that fun for you guys, but the build itself I can do. Certainly. Certainly I can. That's what we're doing. So I'm just tidying up these cables at the back here. I'm going to screw this fan in while we're here. Why not? And I'm going to put it right on the rear of the PC, I think. I guess I could do it right above the cooler. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Shall I put this fan right above the cooler? So it just like... I could. But then I don't think that's optimal, actually, because the space here will suck through air anyway. It looks like I could put a bigger fan on top. I've never thought about that before, but I could put a 140 fan here. There are holes for a 140 fan. So I could put bigger fans on the top. I might do that for my main PC, so if I get any fan upgrades, I guess I'll go for some 140s. Because the bigger the fan, the more airflow and the quieter. It's kind of a win-win. If you can fit a bigger fan in, do it. Bigger fans are always better when it comes to, well, in my opinion. I like big fans because, you know, they can spin at a slower speed and still deliver the same amount of airflow. In fact, I could also move this fan across, which would probably make sense. In fact, why is that even here? So this fan I can move across slightly, and then ow, I just punched my PC with fierce speed and power. That hurt. Yeah, and then this screw is actually in the way of this magnet. So it would be advantageous to move this across. So I think I'll do that now, actually. So I probably put this fan here because I wasn't thinking. Because I was the one who put this fan in this wrong place. And I've just realized now... Oh no, hang on. Hang on, it might be better to leave it here. Oh no, it's better because this will... There's no slot here that I can move it to. In fact, yeah, what am I thinking? Brain fart. It can't go there. It would be nice if it could go where I wanted, but it can't go there. So let's screw that back in. Kind of odd, kind of odd the way this case works, because if you put the fan here, this magnet strip interferes with... No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't if you have it this side. Oh no, it does. It does interfere. That is annoying. Why does it interfere? What about if it's this way around? So yeah, the screw actually interferes with the magnet and makes it kind of rise up. Yeah, it interferes both ways. Yeah, so silly case design. Yeah, it interferes no matter what I do. Is there a way I could solve this? Well, not really. Not really, it's just, you know, the only way to solve it would be to cut the magnet strips myself and move them. So this magnet strip is offset, and that's supposed to mean it doesn't interfere with the screws, but they haven't offset it enough. So it's just interfering with the screw no matter what I do. Which is annoying, but I guess it's not the end of the world. Not even close. It's just kind of like, why? Why is it like that? I think manufacturing error. I think the magnets are meant to be offset more, to be honest. I think they're meant to be offset more. No, you must stream the stress testing. It's great just chatting content and we can hear you go whoa with your voice effects when things ramp up. Whoa. True. Although, to be honest, stress testing for most of the time I leave the PC running and then come back to it after so many hours and check if it's still running. So it's not very good stream material. The only thing I could stream is I could stream some short stress tests, like for example, what's that thing called? CPU bench? No. Cinebench. I could show some Cinebench tests, which basically it makes a render. So it processes a render of a room in 3D, right? Using the CPU. So I could run some Cinebench and we could see how fast it takes to do Cinebench and see if it crashes. Because Cinebench is a pretty good short test to see if your PC is kind of stable. If it can pass a test in Cinebench, then it's probably stable enough for gaming. But it doesn't mean it's stable enough for anything else you might want to throw at it. Basically, the more things you throw at your PC and the less it complains, the more stable it is. So that's what stability tests are for. We're just putting it through scenarios, making sure it can handle things before we use it for work and things where we need it to be stable. So anyway, that's screwed in at the back here. I'm kind of annoyed with this, this thingy. I'm very annoyed with it. But yeah, I guess it can go like this, but there is a gap all the way along this side of the dust filter, you know? So this is a dust filter, and because of the way the magnets are, they haven't been placed right, they interfere. But I can fix that by, maybe one day I'll pull up the magnets, cut them a bit and move them over a little bit, super glue them back down. It's easily fixed actually. In fact, I've done it before on my other case. I have done that mod before of, you know, moving the magnets around. And this exhaust fan, I think it could be higher up because, as you all know, heat rises, right? Heat rises, so I think you want your exhaust fans kind of like high up as possible. So I've been going recently for a right at the back, boom, and right at the top and the back, boom. So it's kind of like right in the corner here is just air exiting at the hottest part of the case, which in my mind, might increase cooling efficiency, but I have no idea. It probably doesn't even matter at all. But I will move this rear fan up to match my, you know, my current cooling philosophy on the PC, which is, you know, as high up and as far back to the case as possible. That's my current cooling philosophy on exhaust fans, and then everything else can pretty much be a intake fan. People talk about positive pressure with PCs. What that means is you want more air coming in than going out. And people say this helps with dust buildup, because if there's positive pressure inside the case, it means air is leaking out of the case rather than being sucked in through all the cracks, you know? Which means you have more direction over where the air goes in, and you can direct it through the dust filters rather than coming in every other orifice of your case. Because cases have a lot of holes in them. So if you don't have positive pressure inside the case, you're going to have negative pressure. If you have more exhaust than intakes, right? You'll have negative pressure and it will start sucking air in through every little hole, which means a lot of dust is going to be sucked in. It's going to bypass your dust filters and get sucked in. Durability test check. Yes, yes. What, did I like drop something? Let's catch up with chat a little. I feel like I haven't been catching up with chat. Oh, I don't have chat on this screen. That's why I've been confused. Hang on, close this. There we go. There it is. So you want an extra cam. Oh, is it for the PC? No, for the stream, sorry. No, I don't need an extra cam. I need an extra PC so that I can offload the stream to the stream PC. So one PC runs the stream, the other PC runs the game. It's pretty common. Most of the streamers that do it for a living have a dual PC setup. It's one of the first upgrades, especially if you're a gaming focused streamer, right? Like I am. If you're gaming focused, then very advantageous to have a dual PC setup. It's just going to help your streams, you know, look more professional because they're not going to, you know, crash and burn so much. And also the games you run will run better. Less issues. It's one of the rare cases where adding something creates less issues, like adding another variable, which is another PC. You'd think that would increase the chance of things going wrong, but no, because one of them focuses on one task and one of them focuses on another task. There's actually less chance you're going to have, you know, the high risk task, which is the game, crashing everything else. Because yeah, games are like high risk tasks. They have a lot of chance of crashing. The OBS has much less chance of crashing. And typically when things crash, they bring down other programs. Like, for example, when we were having Indiana Jones crash, it would take down my entire PC. You know, it would just crash me out of the windows, crash me all the way to the BIOS, basically. Gotta keep that PC cool. That's right, Ramen. Can't go wrong with upgraded storage. Yeah, I agree. I mean, storage is boring though. Unless you're upgrading from a hard drive to an SSD, which is very exciting, storage is kind of boring, but it's a necessity. Because sometimes you just need more storage. I'm catching up with chat. I think I'm all caught up pretty much. Yep, I see where we are now. Hey Lurex, how's the PC build going? It's going well, thank you. We'll see if it turns on. That's when we'll start worrying, but for now it's going pretty smooth. Never built a PC, seems very advanced. I'm just scared I'll mess something up. I wouldn't be too worried, Ramen. If you're really interested in doing it, watch some videos on how to do it. And see if you can gel with that. So what I did when I wanted to build a PC, I looked at some articles, I watched some videos on how to do it. And that gave me the confidence to order the parts I wanted and get to it. First one was pre-built. Yeah, pre-builts can be good too, they can be. Just usually you pay more for what you get, you know. Usually building yourself, you get a bit of a deal. And also the parts are usually higher quality because you get to choose the parts yourself. So you get to choose the parts with good components rather than get whatever the company you're buying from deems as acceptable, you know. Sometimes what they're trying to do is make as much profit as possible. So they're trying to sell you as lower quality parts for as premium as a price as possible. That's just business in these places. Whereas with PC parts, what they're trying to give you is the most attractive part to buy, which usually means it's going to have better quality for the price. It's like a different way of being sold an item. So they're competing on different things. So PC part manufacturers, so companies selling the GPU, selling the motherboard, what they're trying to do is get you on feature set and also quality. So they're trying to sell you on, this is a very durable motherboard, it has Japanese capacitors, that kind of thing. And they're competing very heavily on quality and price, whereas desktop manufacturers are competing on spec sheets, and you can get a very good spec sheet but have very poor quality components, which I've seen happen many times. And also poor qualities of build where the build is kind of strange, like you only have one RAM DIMM, for example, in your build, when really you should always use two so that they run in dual channel. But you know, a manufacturer or a company selling you PCs will just care about it says 16 gig RAM or 32, and they'll just put one DIMM in to save on costs for them and pass on the problems to you. But there are such things as good pre-builts, so I'm not dissing all pre-builts or people that buy them. I think they have a place in the market for sure. But I think it's a good skill to be able to build your own PC. It's useful. Just be careful because you will become your family's tech support guy. You'll be doing lots of tech support for your family and friends once you can build a PC. What specs does he have? If you type in the Twitch chat, !PC. So !PC and you'll see them. The specs one didn't work. But yeah, if you type in !PC, you'll get my my main PC specs. The only difference from that is that I've now installed 128 gig of RAM. But other than that, the specs are accurate. So the RAM's changed, everything else is the same. There you go. So yeah, let's check these specs. Yeah, everything's the same, except I upgraded the RAM to 128 gigabyte of 3200 megahertz DDR4 dedicated WAMs. Yeah, everything else is the same. And this is the Stream PC. It's lesser specs. So this is a 3800X. It's 64 gig of DDR4, 3200 megahertz. It's you know, a B350M Mortar motherboard, quite an old motherboard at this point, but it works with the CPU at least. And it's, what else? That's pretty much it, right? 16 terabyte hard drive going in there, and a 2 terabyte SSD. Yeah. Good specs. And the case is a fractal design Mini C. Okay, so we've done those cables. We've done the reset switch, the power switch, the USB-C cable. We've got all the fans plugged in. We've moved the fans to where we want them, which is what I was doing just now. Moving these fans, let's just make sure this is screwed in all the way. You don't want the fans, you know, loose, because then they'll vibrate and rattle. You want them quite tight, but, you know, not so tight you know, de-thread the screws, because that's not fun. Okay, so at this point it's time to, I think, plug in the capture card. Let's go capture card. Or we could go graphics card. What's more exciting to you guys? I think it's time to get to the end of this build. Dedicated whams. Yeah, dedicated whams. Okay, so graphics card. Let's take a look at this thing. I could do the graphics card next. We all have graphics cards, don't we? So this is an MSI Duke RTX 2080. So this would have been bought around when the 2080s were current graphics cards. So when we bought this, I think it was one of the top of the line graphics cards. It's not the top of the line cooler, but it's a decent one. It's like an MSI triple fan cooler. I'm pretty sure this still works all perfectly, this graphics card. Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to blow it with some air to dust it a little bit. I have a very loud air blower. It's going to blow the dust off this. I will warn you before I turn it on. Because it's loud, basically. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to warn you right now. It's going to get quite loud, so you might want to turn down your volume a tad. And I'm just going to dust this on top of this PC. Okay, there really isn't much dust on this graphics card. I must have cleaned it a long time ago when I first took it out, but it's kind of been sitting on my shelf all this time. So this graphics card has kind of just been sitting on my shelf without a use. And it's just been sitting there because I've been waiting to get parts for the Stream PC. I knew I would repurpose this one day, but hadn't had a chance. So it's probably been sitting there a year or two. Maybe, yeah, probably 2 years at the very least, just been sitting there. But now it's got a use, so it's going to be turned on for the first time in a long time. Hopefully it still works. And I need my little paintbrush that I was using the other stream, but I have no idea where it is. Well, here's one, but it's not the right shape, but this will do. So I'm just going to dust the fans with the paintbrush. I found that using one of these, you know, non-used paintbrushes is quite good for this. Let's just dust those off. There we go. These still have stickers on it. I think they actually do still have stickers on. I'll just leave them on still. Sometimes I don't remove stickers if I don't find it necessary, so if it's on the fan hubs in the middle, I don't really need to remove those. All it does, removing them, is reduce the resale value if you're going to resell these. People like the stickers still being on. So keep the stickers on if you can. I would say if you want to resell later. I might end up selling this eventually and upgrading. Finish the lurking sesh? Hey, Vital. You didn't miss too much. We're on to the exciting part now, which is the GPU. GPUs are always the most exciting part of a PC, aren't they? There we go. So we dusted the heck out of this. It seems very clean, this graphics card. Not bad at all. Not bad condition. I will clean these. Where did I just put that microfiber? There it is. So I'm going to clean the pins because this has been sitting on my shelf And I reckon the pins probably have some dust on them, so. Just the pins of the GPU, I'm just gonna check, get any surface dust off them that's there, just so it makes better contact with the pins of the motherboard. And the motherboard's looking rather clean as well. So I actually cleaned this motherboard when I dismantled it a long time ago, and then I wrapped everything in plastic. So this PC has been wrapped in plastic. So it's kept all the dust off it. So that worked well. Oh, it's got screws in here I need to remove. So it looks like I also put the screws in here for safekeeping, but now they're in the way. So we'll remove these thumb screws. These are the PCI Express panel thumb screws. PCI Express slot thumb screws. So when you get an expansion card, usually the ports come out through the back of your PC here. Where I'm poking my fingers. The ports will be on the back. So for example, graphics card, the DVI and HDMI ports will be here. So you usually have to remove a bit of metal first and then place in the graphics card. That's what we've just done here. Funny, I think this graphics card has an SLI connector. LOL. Remember SLI? God, that shit was terrible. I tried to use SLI before, you know. Never really worked. So it looks like this graphics card is just about long enough. I mean, just about short enough to fit here. There's not a lot of length on this PC case, to be honest. I think we're in. Yep, we're in. Yeah, so the graphics card literally touches the fan. It's the same on my other computer, so the 3090 that I have also is about this long. It's almost like they designed the PCs to only just fit in one of these cases, because these cases are very popular, so I guess the dimensions of this case are also very popular. And it seems like a lot of cards these days only just fit in. I have noticed that. I hope the 5080 isn't even longer than the 3090 was, because then it's not going to fit. Yeah, I might need to get a bigger case one day if these graphics cards keep getting bigger. Which I assume, you know what, I think they will be getting bigger. I think they will be, because this gen, no one was happy with the NVIDIA performance, so how are they going to make their cards more performative? They're going to make them bigger. So I reckon the 6080 cards will be behemoths. Or maybe the 7000 series, sorry. So I'm screwing this in now. It's got a couple of screws here. It's a 2-slot cooling solution. I'm actually getting used to 3 slots, because a lot of cards these days have a 3-slot or 2.5 slot cooling solution, but this is a nice thin card, which is a nice change, to be honest. I like a thin card. So that's screwed in nicely. So you want to make sure these are pretty firmly screwed in, because these screws actually help alleviate the weight on the PCI slot itself. So if you don't do these upright, then the card is going to be dangling from the PCI Express slot and it can damage the slot. So it's good to make sure these are firmly screwed in, but you know, not too tight. Most of us have a good feel for how tight things should be, don't we? Double-decker GPUs, yeah, so a lot of GPUs now are like 3 or even 4 slots sometimes, the coolers on them, so it just means they put more metal cooling dissipation on them so they can, you know, run hotter. Or you can cool the heat, basically. Okay, so that's in, the USB 3 is in. That was good that we did the USB 3 port before we did the graphics card, because otherwise that would have been impossible, so we would have had to remove the graphics card again. Now looking here, it looks like we only have one space to put the... Ooh, this might be a problem. So like I said, this is meant to be a stream PC, which means it's meant to have an expansion card known as a capture card, an Elgato 4K60 Pro. But does this fit? We might get lucky, it might fit in the last slot. I think we're lucky. Oh, we are very lucky. It barely fits there because there's a cable for the HD audio and a cable for the system fan. And they are right underneath the last PCI slot, and we only have one PCI slot free because this one up here is blocked by the graphics card. We don't want to use that one. So we have to use the rear one, really. I mean, the bottom slot. I'm going to show you what I mean here. So here we have, and are we still mirrored actually? Oh, now we're mirrored very weirdly. So now we have to like, hang on, unmirror, there we go. There we go, that's better. So yeah, so under the graphics card, because this is a micro ATX motherboard, we only have 2 PCI slots because they're supposed to be longer this way, which means more slots. This one only doesn't have very many. So we have up there a PCI slot, but look, the graphics card is kind of blocking it with its fan. It's blocked, so we have to use the one underneath. However, these cables are kind of in the way. Luckily though, because of the shape of this, which is kind of tapered there at the edge, because of the tapered edge, it actually does fit there still. So we're kind of lucky there. Otherwise, we would have had to like cancel the build and come up with something else. Because we kind of need that capture card to work. Now we're mirrored the other way again. There we go. So I just have to kind of control the mirrorness with the Droid Cam settings. Okay, how are we doing on chat here? I think we're all caught up, right? Finemorph says, can't find who they were nervous about building a PC, but here's what I did. Like Koroku, I watched a ton of PC building videos. Also volunteered at a local non-profit that built PCs from donated supplies. Doing a little bit of RAM installs and HDD installs gave me the confidence I needed. Honestly, just watching a lot of videos would have been plenty, but getting hands-on certainly helped. Yeah, that sounds like an even better way than me, Finemorph, to actually get some hands-on experience. For me, I just got stuck in after watching some videos, and I was kind of obsessed about the topic of building a PC for maybe 2 years before I ever built one. I was really obsessed. Like, I'd read every article about building PCs, about custom PC builds. Then eventually convinced my parents to let me build the next family PC when we needed the next upgrade, so that was pretty cool. My parents let me, they let me build a PC when I was about 14 for the family computer, and it was a very powerful PC. Very powerful. It could run Crysis back, this was around 2007, and it could run Crysis. So the PC was kind of a Crysis build. I built it so it could run Crysis, basically. And it also ran other games very well, such as BioShock, which came out around that time. And BioShock was a fantastic game. There were great memories playing BioShock. Great memories. BioShock blew my mind. I'd never played a game like that before. Very, very cool game. It was the way the story was told in that game that was really, well, game-changing, I guess, for the genres. For the genre of, you know, first-person video game. First-person art story game. And the setting as well was, and just the art style. To be honest, everything about that game was fantastic. I'm going to blow this now, so cover your ears, gamers. 3, 2, 1. So yeah, that's pretty clean. So there's always trace dust left over on PCBs like this. So there's a trace layer of dust, but I typically leave that because I think it's kind of risky trying to clean a PCB. So I just dust it as much as the air will dust it. I tend to, I wipe surfaces like this, that are like metal, but I won't really often get in on a PCB really, because as long as it's working, I'm happy. And as long as there's not visible like layers of thick dust, I'm also happy. So I tend not to do that. I will clean the pins a little bit though, because pins are pretty sturdy things. Okay, so we're gonna, that's the wrong way. We're gonna plug in the capture card that's gonna capture the game footage. We're gonna plug it into the bottommost slot. There we go, that's plugged in. And we're going to screw it in with the screws. And then I'll have to hunt around for the remaining screws, because I don't know where they are. Lurik says, I'm obsessing right now, watching every video I can. I feel way too confident to build my first one for someone who's never actually built them before. I think you'll do all right, Lurik, I think you will. And if you make a mistake, it's not too bad. What you can do is RMA the parts and just don't tell them you broke it. That's what I would recommend. So if a part doesn't work for whatever reason, don't panic. Just send it back and say it doesn't work. And don't think that you broke it, because a lot of the time, some parts are just faulty. So it probably wasn't even your fault that it doesn't work. So if you're doing a PC build and something doesn't work and you need to send a part back, whatever, for a replacement, that's kind of normal. We've had to do it. I've had to do it before. And it wasn't because of my PC building. It was literally a faulty part that they sent me. It happens sometimes. The only part of I'm dreading is seeing if it actually turns on and setting up the BIOS. So BIOSes these days are pretty easy to set up. What you need to make sure, I'll give you one piece of advice that you should write down, right? So when you're setting up the PC, make sure the BIOS is in UEFI mode, okay? UEFI mode, and make sure your disks are formatted with in UEFI mode, as if you're doing Windows build, as GPT partitions. Because a big mistake I've seen people make is they partition their drives as MBR, which is Master Boot Record, which is an old way of doing it. And that means your drives can't boot in UEFI mode, which means you have to use compatibility BIOS mode. And this is going to slow down your system. I've seen it happen a lot. And it's also going to limit the drives you can have to 4 terabytes. You can't get over 4 terabyte drives if you are on MBR partition drives and compatibility mode BIOS. And then your Windows installation, if you do it the wrong way, will also be installed in compatibility mode. So that also won't be UEFI. UEFI is just the way BIOSes have worked for a long time. It's the newer way of them working, and they support more features. So that's something to keep an eye on, because it's very easy to accidentally install everything with MBR partitions and, you know, in compatibility mode. I had my editor did it by accident, and he was wondering why certain things weren't working. And then, you know, we're going through the troubleshooting, and then eventually we figured out, oh, it's because you know, your drive was set up in MBR mode, so you didn't install in UEFI mode, which means your experience is going to be limited. I'm learning too, yeah. So yeah, there's lots of little things that can go wrong with the build. It used to be as well with AHCI mode, which is, that should be enabled by default now, but basically there used to be 2 different SATA modes of running things, and the one you wanted was usually AHCI mode, and a lot of people didn't have that on, so their experience with their hard drives was limited. You don't always need to touch the BIOS. Yeah, a lot of them you hardly need to touch. Usually there are a few settings you probably want to change, but yeah, these days, most BIOSes are set up pretty well first go round. But like I said, if you plug in an MBR partition drive, the BIOS will default to compatibility mode and will disable a lot of features, and then you'll end up installing the OS in compatibility mode, which isn't ideal. That mode is pretty much reserved for, you know, old computer parts, which most of us don't have these days. I mean, really old, like 25 years old. UEFI, I think it's UEFI, yeah, UEFI. I'll just double check that. So there are easy ways to notice if you're in UEFI mode. So when you're doing the installation of Windows, if Windows makes a load of partitions, makes like 5 partitions on your drive, then likely you are in UEFI mode. If it only makes like a couple or 3 partitions, you're probably in MBR mode. Because MBR mode actually limits the number of partitions you can have on your drive, whereas UEFI mode, you can actually, and GPT partitioning, you can actually have like almost unlimited partitions on your drive. So yeah. So that's why in MBR mode it makes less partitions, because it doesn't want to use all of them up. Mr. Vital says, I've come across too many times when people have mucked around in the BIOS and ruined their own system for no real reason. Yeah, I mean, if you go in the BIOS and change your voltage to a number that will kill your processor, that will kill your processor. Because in the BIOS, you can literally change voltage values, which means you can tell your motherboard, supply loads of voltage to this graphics card, and then your graphics card will die in short fashion. It will probably die in about 5 seconds, maybe even a split second of having the wrong voltage applied. So yeah, there are definitely things you can fuck up, and one of them is going over. If you overvolt your components in the BIOS, that will kill your system. So don't be scared by the BIOS, but there are things in there that can destroy your PC. So just be careful what you mess with, and make sure you know what you're doing in there. More partitions equals better. Yeah, so if you're installing Windows and it shows like loads of partitions, usually that means you're in the right mode. Now, it's just an indicator that you're in the right installation mode, you know? So that's just a way to tell if you're... So if you start installing Windows onto a new PC and it's only making about 3 partitions on the drive, that's a warning to me. Whoops, I don't think we're in UEFI mode. I think this is installing in compatibility mode, and then I'll have to figure out what's wrong. So what was wrong with my editor's PC was that he was using an older drive. He was repurposing a drive, and this drive had an MBR partition on. And because the drive had an MBR partition, the BIOS was defaulting to a compatibility mode installation. And in UEFI mode, he couldn't even see the drive. So in UEFI mode, he couldn't even see the drive on his system because it won't detect the drive because it's using the old style BIOS compatibility mode. How do you know how much voltage your parts need? It will auto negotiate. So usually you plug in the part, your motherboard will auto negotiate the voltage for you. Now, if you want, you can manually change the voltage. You might want to do this if you're overclocking, and that's pretty much it. If you're overclocking or maybe underclocking to save electricity costs, or you just like things to use less electricity, you can undervolt, you can overvolt. Yeah, so you can control it, but typically the BIOS will do everything for you for the most part. Now, you also want to be careful of performance upgrade in the BIOS, right? A lot of motherboards will have like overclock mode or like performance, super performance mode, and you'll enable it and the motherboard will supply way too much voltage to your parts and your parts will die sooner. And also be hot. So a lot of these performance enhancing features on BIOSes, just don't touch them. Don't mess with those things, they're crappy. You either want to learn it yourself and do it manually, or you want to just leave everything like on auto, just the way it's set up. Maybe enable like precision boost or something like that, which is an overclocking mode that AMD kind of support, even though I think it does void your warranty if you use it. Undervolting for temps is so legit. Yeah, so I used to undervolt a Core 2 quad processor and it ran faster when I undervolted it. It's pretty good. I think it actually ran, I think it ran like 3.8 gigahertz or something. Actually, did it run that fast? I thought something like that. I think it was 3.2, no, maybe it was 3.2 gigahertz, yeah. 3.2 gigahertz, but with like really solid temps. Another thing I wanted to ask, fan curves, you have to change them, like what do different fan curves mean? Yeah, so that is something you want to change in the BIOS. So when you go in the BIOS, there's a fan configuration tool. And what you want to do on most motherboards now, you'll have like auto fan config. You click that, it will scan all your fans. It will set, minimum speeds, maximum speeds by spinning them up, spinning them down and seeing how they react or whatever. It kind of figures it out for you. And then there'll be a fan curve. It's quite easy to figure out. And most of the time it will be fine at that point. You can just leave it. And there'll be like standard mode, turbo mode, quiet mode. I would recommend leaving it on standard mode. And then if you want to do a custom fan curve, you can play with that. It's pretty safe to play with. It's pretty obvious what the fan curves do. You can figure it out quite easily. So yeah, fan curves is something I always do in the BIOS, but I pretty much leave them standard and let the motherboard auto find the minimum and max fan speeds. And then from there, you want to make sure your fans spin up when your processor gets hot and spin down when your processor is cold. So you want to make sure the fan speeds are actually changing. If they're not changing, you might need to go into the fan optimize a tool on your BIOS and change the mode from PWM to DC or vice versa. The DC option will work with any fan, so keep that in mind. The PWM option will only work if you have PWM fans. So that's the difference. So if you're worried which kind of fan you have, maybe put it to DC and you'll be fine anyway. If you know you have PWM fans, then by all means put it to PWM mode, which is pulse width modulation. It's just a different way of controlling the fan speed that uses an extra pin. So another way you can tell which kind of fan you have, if you look at the connector, if it has 3 pins, likely a normal fan without PWM. If it's got 4 pins, which actually most fans are these days, most fans do just have 4 pins these days, and most fans are these days PWM. So if it has 4 pins, it's a PWM fan. 3 pins, it's a normal fan that can be controlled through DC control in the motherboard BIOS. I'm just reposting, curious about your thoughts. Can GPUs get any bigger? I feel like they can't draw much more power and cool all these watts. I guess it depends on the system power, but I wonder how much headroom we have. In the States, I believe consumer electronics cannot draw more than 1,500 watts. With the power conversion losses, I feel like 1,200 PSU might be max for the American market, unless they standardize 240 volt PSUs like you guys have. Yeah, you're right. So in the US, you do have a problem with your wattage, don't you? Because the max wattage here is about double the US's. So I'm pretty sure the max wattage here is 3,000 watts. So, yeah. So how do you guys use kettles? Because kettles over here are 3,000 watts, so they boil water very fast. Are your kettles only 1,500? Because that would be slow to boil water. I mean, 3,000, 3,000 is already slow enough. We could use 6,000 for kettles, I reckon. We can't make tea nearly as fast as you guys. That's why you don't drink as much tea, because it's annoying waiting for the freaking kettle. Our kettles over here are fast as fuck. That makes sense why we drink more tea, dude. It's just because your kettles are slow. It's annoying for you to boil your kettles. Yeah, so over here, I mean, they could double the size of graphics cards, we'd still be okay. But I guess in the US markets, it's more difficult. Now, I'm pretty sure in the US, though, can't you get special power outlets that can handle more wattage? I'm pretty sure you can get, like, special ones, right? Because I've seen some American house builds where they're put in these special outlets that can handle, like, a lot. So I guess that's more common in these States, to have, like, special outlets. Maybe for PC use or whatever. But yeah, at the wall we can go up to 3,000. Electric ranges here are 230 volts, 40 to 50 amps. Put the kettle on the range. What's a range? What's an electric range? Mostly put the kettle on the range. We can get all kinds of plugs, but it's pricey. On the gun range. Oh, wait, what? No, that doesn't make sense. Range equals stove. Okay, yeah, so you have a special outlet for the stove, which has more wattage, because it would need to handle more wattage, because the stove, ovens need to get hot or they won't work. So if you have an electric oven, it needs to be 3,000 watt, or it's not going to get very hot, is it? It's going to be a crappy oven. Hey, Petite Lolita. We're just finishing up the build. We put the graphics card in. Now we need graphics card cables, don't we? So let's get those. This is a graphics card cable. So it looks like before I had one GPU plug-in and I just plugged this in. And then, do you think I should use 2 cables though? I could use 2 cables. Maybe it would be better for power delivery for the card, but you know what? I don't reckon this needs that much power delivery. Let's check how much power a 2080 uses. How much wattage RTX 2018. I'm not going to overclock this card or anything like that, so I'll just look at the stock settings. 225 watts. 225. So how much can a GPU cable handle? I think it might be 150, so maybe I do need 2 cables. Or maybe it's 300 actually. How much can a GPU cable handle? Yeah, I think it might be 300 or 150. So it says here an 8-pin GPU cable. So this is an 8-pin. Can handle 150 watts of power. So this is 225 watts. Maybe I should use 2 cables. Although to be honest, these old style cables, they're rated for 150, but I think they can go 300. I think I heard that, right? So these cables, although they are rated 150, they actually rated them kind of low for safety, and they can actually do like double. Whereas the new style cables are rated without any safety in mind, so they actually melt and destroy your house within a home fire. So the new cables are actually rated for 500 watts. Now it makes no sense to me because if you look at the pins and you look at the amount of metal in there, that should give you a good idea of how much power it can handle. Now the newer style pins, which you'll see all over on Reddit, are smaller and they look like they have less metal in. So how do they handle more wattage? I think they've been sneaky about the way they rate these cables. I think the old style cables can actually handle just as much as the new style, but the new style are rated for 500 watt, which is a lot of power to send through those tiny pins. So the new pins are 12 pin, but they're very small pins. So yeah, I think there's been some tomfoolery with how they rate these cables. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, although these are rated 150, they can handle about double. So I might just use 1 cable and be a little cheeky boy, or I might use 2. I'll decide after looking at a few. I'm going to decide after looking at a few Reddit posts, see what people say in Reddit. Usually they know their stuff. They're saying a Corsair PSU can deliver 316 watts from the PSU side connection. And each connection on a pigtail, for example this is a pigtail, can provide 75 watts. So basically, this can provide 150, and this can provide 75, that's what they're saying. So 150 plus 75, that gets us literally 225 watts, which is the rating of this graphics card. So we're actually safe to use 1, and I think I'll use 1. Fuck it. If I have any problems, I'll use 2. But, I mean, technically this should work with 1. It was working before with 1, so. And this particular graphics card actually has an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So I think it's actually designed to be used with 1 cable, just because of the layout of the pins. So it has an 8-pin plus a 6-pin. So that makes me think that it's designed to be used with 1 cable, because if it was designed to be used with 2 cables, it'd probably have 2 8-pins. It'd probably have 2 8-pins. It just makes sense logically, rather than having a 6-pin and an 8-pin, which makes me think it's you're supposed to use a pigtail with it anyway. Yeah, the new graphics cards use these new 12-pin connectors, and they've been catching fire and melting all over the place. Lots of unimpressed people on Reddit, I've seen. Lots of unimpressed people on Reddit complaining about the new style of pins. I think it only really makes a difference if you're using like a really high-powered card, like a RTX 4090, and maybe some low-quality cables for whatever reason. I think that's when you reach the danger zone, you know? Low-quality cable and high-powered GPU, that you might end up with melted pins. So yeah, I'm going to use the pigtail here. It's going to be nice and neat with a single cable coming out. What CPU do you have? In this machine I have a Ryzen 3800X, an 8-core CPU. That's quite a few years old now, but it's still pretty good. The PCIe slot can also provide 75 watts. Ooh, so I probably need even less power than I thought. Yeah, good thinking, Firemorph. I forgot the PCI Express slot itself provides power. Now, I'm not sure how much power these cars draw through the PCIe slot, but I reckon not 0, right? I mean, not 0. They wouldn't take 0 from there, would they? They would at least take like 25 watts, surely? Or 50? Yeah, I forgot the PCI Express itself delivers power as well. That's nothing for the 2080. Oh, you mean like wattage? Yeah, so you've got to remember the 1080 series were very power efficient. Like NVIDIA used to chase power efficiency for quite a while, and then they started going performance around the 3080 series, really. The 2080 was a incremental upgrade from the 1080. So what the 2080 was like a, we're gonna boost the frickin' performance and add RTX features such as DLSS and ray tracing. But ray tracing was the selling point. Of course, this thing cannot ray trace for shit. The ray tracing on this card is abysmal. It's about level with the PS5's ray tracing performance, which is pretty shit. So yeah. It can do some little ray tracing effects, I guess, if you want 0 frame rate or very low frame rate. But yeah, it can't really do ray tracing very well. It was all a gimmick for the 2080 series. Of course, the 3080, that was when we started to see some ray tracing actually working at decent frame rates, like 30 to 60. And nowadays, the 4090 can do ray tracing pretty well. So nowadays, ray tracing is a thing that can be done. But for the 2080 series, not really. "32 gig of RAM in main." No, the main got upgraded to 128 earlier. So in about part 1 or 2 of this building process, we upgraded the RAM on the main PC. The main PC is currently running the stream. So yeah, 128 gig in there and 64 in this. Stay hydrated, y'all. That's a good idea. I might grab my last Coca-Cola that I've been working through that pack of Coke Zeros I have. It was nice hanging out. Have to go and have dinner. See you, Lorex. It was nice having you here. Thank you for the questions. It was a pleasure to answer your questions for you. I hope you are well informed now, or more well informed than you were. What CPU you have? I hope I answered that for you, didn't I? Hey, Bee's Knees. Good afternoon. Did Vital get any sleep? 8 hours. Nice, dude. I got about 7 hours last night. Not too bad, but not great. Like I said before, I kind of need 9 hours to be on top of my game. So 7 hours is okay, but not amazing. 8+ is pretty good for me. 9 is perfect, usually. After 9 hours of sleep, I'm ready to, like, conquer the universe. But it rarely happens. Life gets in the way of sleep, you know. Yeah, the WAMs have been shuffled around. They have been. I also found some RAM in a box. So this PC had 32 gigs in. But then I found some RAM in a box that matched this kit of RAM. So I was like, hey, I think we can have 64. Although some of this RAM might be faulty. So we'll have to do a mem test and figure out what's working and what's not. A cubicle every day has to be a drag, like working in a cubicle. I think for some people it's all right. Some people like the cubicle lifestyle. I think I'd be all right in a cubicle because I'm kind of like introverted. Maybe I'd like my own little space. I think having a cubicle would be better than not having one for me. So I would, if I were working in an office setting, I would kind of like to have the cubicle like you see in American shows where they kind of have their own little office thing with the PC. I would quite like that, as long as you can come out and talk to people, like in a group space as well. I would like to be able to go to my little cubicle and do some work, like smash out some work on my lonesome. So who was talking about cubicles here? Petite Lolita. Through 3 days in cubicle and 2 days work from home. Oh, I see. So you've got, you know, some days you work from home now and 3 days you're in cubicle. Interesting. What do you do for a living, Petite Lolita? I forgot what you do. I know you have your own org. So that's cool. But I forgot what you do for a living. iMorth says, I used to have a 2080 Super, then got 6900 XT and the size difference was hilarious. Felt like a real upgrade. Wait, was the 6900 XT smaller or bigger? Was it bigger or smaller? So the 1080s were actually really like slimline because NVIDIA went all power efficiency. They had like a die shrink and everything. And then these ones, they kind of upped the power level a bit, but the 1080s were like very efficient, I think I remember. So they were quite low power. Nowadays, NVIDIA is like, we must have the performance crown, and so their graphics cards are huge. We saw the 3090 in the other PC. My God, that's a behemoth compared to what I used to put in my PC. I mean, I used to think this graphics card was large. I was like, whoa, so big, and wow. But the 3090 just makes it look like a child's toy. The 3090 is crazy huge, what the heck? It's like, the 3090 like takes up most of the PC space. My PC over there is mostly graphics card. I think one day we're going to have to plug the motherboard into the graphics card. Like, the graphics card is going to be in the PC taking up all the space. Then you're just going to plug the motherboard into it. We're going to start having to reverse the way we build a PC. We're going to have to plug the PSU in the... And I think maybe graphics cards are going to get their own power supply cable. Like, the graphics card is going to have its own power supply, and it's going to have a cable on the back that you have to plug in separately. I think we're going to get to that stage at some point. Sleep is key. Yeah, sleep is so good and important. It's so hard to get a lot of the time. Some companies want complete in-office, says Petite Lolita, but a lot of folks are rebelling, so they don't want to retire an entire floor of staff, so they compromise. Yeah, I see. So a lot of folks are like... I think a lot of it is common sense, because some people are like, but I work better from home. Why can't I have at least like 2 days at home? Because it just makes sense, right? So a lot of it is common sense thinking, and then you've got the old way of thinking that's like, no work gets done unless you're in the office under my beck and call, which is kind of archaic. I mean, with some jobs it's true. With a lot of jobs, a bit of working from home could actually probably save the company some money, and you also save your employees some time with the commute and everything, and stress, which means happier employees and more work done. So I think there is a balance to be struck. Maybe 3 in the office and 2 work from home is probably a decent balance for most. That would probably work for most places, right? And you can always teleport. Like, this isn't said nearly enough, but we have the technology now to look at this. I'm basically teleported to your room, and you could also be we could be having a conversation like this. It's called like Zoom, and Discord has the functionality. Loads of apps have this functionality to do one-on-one calling with cameras and microphones, where it's pretty much like being in the room. And there's even tech where you can go beyond that with VR, and you can be in the same 3D space as another person, that even though you're on the other side of the world. So I think this technology needs to be looked at as cost-saving for companies, because a lot of the time you don't really need another set of hands. You just need another person in the space that you can communicate with using, you know, hand gestures and things, because it's not always the same typing to each other. But if you're doing this, that's kind of like teleportation in a way. You're not physically there, but you are there in every other way, aren't you? So I think that's a good way to work from home. I think maybe companies need to invest in getting their workers set up with some good Zoom setups, maybe like a decent mic, decent camera, boom, they can teleport now. You can work across the other side of the world in a lot of different jobs. So I don't know why that's not looked into more in all these companies where it would benefit them, because it's pretty cheap to get someone set up with a camera and a microphone, like a decent mic, decent camera, pretty cheap. If you think about the cost of running business and having people commute to the office, probably much more expensive than being able to do this. So there should be a stopgap thing, which is not just work from home, but it's work from home through camera and voice, you know? Work from home through a proper connection where you can talk one-on-one like this and interact one-on-one. Maybe there needs to be some kind of compromise where it's like, you know, communication does happen better in person, but through technology like this, the communication can happen pretty naturally without being in person. And then you save a lot of money on commute, you save the environment from, you know, the travel costs. You probably save a lot of risk for your, you know, your employee could crash their car on the way to work. You're not crashing any car doing this, are you? Your internet connection might go down, that's a bit of a risk, I guess. It's weird that 5090 is smaller than the 4090. Is it? I didn't know that. I didn't know it was smaller. That is weird because they're on the same size die shrink. So they haven't done a die shrink, so they should be around the same size, or the 5090 I'd expect to be bigger because it's more powerful. But maybe they found a way to make it more efficient and a bit smaller without a die shrink, and then they, you know, to be honest, the 5090 isn't much more powerful than the 4090, as far as I can see, as far as I've seen on Reddit anyway. People are laughing at the 5000 series. They're saying they're hardly more powerful, and also they've dropped a lot of support for older technologies such as PhysX 32-bit. So now if you want to play Batman Arkham Asylum, you can't, at least not with physics effects enabled. If you want to play Borderlands 2, you can't unless, you know, not with PhysX enabled. So Mirror's Edge, there are lots of older games that are fantastic and the physics effects were fun. And well, one of the reasons I stuck with NVIDIA, because I don't want to play those older games without physics, because I just liked physics. I thought it was cool. And it's a bit of a shame, but the newer cards, starting with the 5000 series, don't support PhysX 32-bit, which means a lot of older games now don't run anymore at good frame rates unless you turn off some of the graphics effects. And why do we buy graphics cards? Oh yeah, graphics effects. That's why we buy them. So the newer card is basically worse than the last gen, because the 4000 series still support 32-bit physics, and they're basically as powerful as the 5000 series. More or less, they're as powerful. And they are, what do you call it? Less expensive a lot of the time, although now the 4000 series are going up in price because everyone's buying them over the 5000, and they've ended producing them. They've ended the production lines for the 4000 series. So yeah, it's a bit of a scam, a bit of a ruse from NVIDIA, the 5000 series, but they're still the best cards on the market technically. Apart from if you want to run 32-bit physics on some older games, which I probably do want to do sometimes. I do, some of those older games I do want to revisit, such as the Arkham series. And I do like those paper bits flying around on the screen. I liked that. I thought it was nice. It was better. And the smoke. Hello, beautiful people of KorokuGaming's world. Hello, Judy Bambooty. How are you doing? We're covering our disdain for working in office. Yes, yes. Imoth says it's bigger. Wait, bigger? Oh, the 6900 XT is bigger. I see, I see. So you're saying the 6900 XT was way bigger than the 2080 Super. Yeah, the 2080s were kind of small. I think they were power efficient, and so they didn't make much heat. And then with the 3080 series, the reason that was such a beloved series of card, because it came with a die shrink, which means more power efficiency anyway. Per watt, you're going to get more frames than the 2080 series. And then also they made them massive, so that they were just like performance behemoths, because they sucked power, but they were also more efficient, which just means they would like double the speed of the 2080 series. Like the gains were insane, and it was a very beloved series by the fans of the GPUs and everything, the graphics cards. I actually got a 3080. I pre-ordered one, and some of you know the drama that went down there, but I got scammed by scan.co.uk. They stole my money. They stole about £250 from me. But I did get a 3080 eventually, 6 months after release, or maybe longer, even though I pre-ordered it and they promised it would be with me within 2 weeks. So thank you, Scan, for ruining my life. It was horrible waiting that long for a graphics card I had already paid for, I gotta say. But yeah, working from home takes discipline, yeah, and that is hard to do, by the way. Working from home does take discipline. It's something I have been struggling with for a long time to, you know, really make sure I'm working enough from home. But I'm kind of a pro at it now. I'm getting pretty good at it. I'm putting in a lot of work every day, probably more work than I've ever done on the channel and the streams and everything. So I figured it out. But yeah, it is pretty tough, but I think most people are capable of it. Especially when the alternative is going to work in the office, which you probably don't like to do. You're going to figure it out pretty quickly. Petite Lolita says, if you can be productive no matter where you are, don't force it. Only makes the employees feel like you don't trust them. Yes, but the problem is the employees are worried that now everyone's going to want this, and now no one's going to do their work, because there are some work-shy people that are using this to their advantage, the work from home thing, and they're not doing much work when they're at home, being a bit useless. So that is happening too, some people taking advantage of the situation. And then you get, the thing is, for the most part though, I think people that work better with other people around them in a social setting are going to want to be at work anyway. So those people are going to be wanting to be at work. They won't want to work from home very often. And the people that work better, kind of like at home, will want to work from home. So it kind of works out usually. But I think employers are always worried about people that maybe don't exist, or people that they think exist. Like, they might have a worldview where everyone's so lazy, you can't get good employees anymore. Most of the time that isn't the issue. Most of the time it's something else going on. Like, maybe you're offering very low paid jobs for very hard work, which is going to not get you the greatest turnover of employees. No one's going to want to work there, basically. And then they kind of blame the employees in the current climate, like, oh, you just can't get good work anymore. You mean you can't get people that want to work a terrible job for low pay? I think that's what you mean, which is fair enough. I can go in or work from home whenever I want. I prefer office most days, since at home I can't motivate myself working. And it helps with not working once I leave the office. Otherwise, I would still be online now. Oh, yeah. So if you work from home, also your home becomes your workplace, which is a bit of a thing, I guess. So it can make you actually stress out more sometimes if you're always working from home, because then you feel like you should always be working. Like if it's the same area. If you work and play in the same area, sometimes that can be difficult. I'm pretty lucky here, because this room is pretty much only for work. This room here, I have a smaller bedroom just through that door, which is where I sleep. And where I have a TV. I mean, this room is basically just for work. I don't really play much in here, really. I mean, occasionally, very, very rarely, I might put on a game on the computer screen without streaming, but that's very rare these days. In fact, I never do it, pretty much. Thank you for the hydrate, Fire Moth. I missed that one. I am very thirsty. It's quite hot in this room. It's about 23. That's pretty hot for me. It's going to get hotter once this PC's running. Farmers work effing hard. Oh yeah, they do. Good farmers do, of course. It's a lot of work goes on at a farm. A lot of work, but it's good, honest work, isn't it? On my farm, I'd be working all day, every day, and be happy. But farming is quite nice work, to be honest. Unfortunately, I think in this country, the farmers are having trouble. The governments keep cutting subsidies to the farms, and it's harder and harder for them to be profitable. And there's a lot of risk that the farmers are taking every year. It was kind of outlined pretty comprehensively in the latest Jeremy Clarkson show called like Clarkson's Farm, where they show you kind of all the troubles that farmers are going through these days. Pretty interesting, actually. It's really brought it to the public that our farmers aren't having the best of times with all the changes the government keeps making. They're barely, I mean, Clarkson he has a lot of money at his disposal, and he was, they seemed to be running the farm quite well, his farm, and they were some years struggling to make any profit at all, just breaking even barely on the way they were running the farm. So it seems pretty difficult in this country to run a good farm. I think most of our farmers, they're there through generations of farmers usually. Then you get the occasional person who's like, I'm going to buy a farm and be a farmer, but often those people don't do very well, because you need kind of like the knowledge of, generations of farmers to actually like do the job correctly or do it profitably with the way it's going in this country. I mean, working a farm can be terrible, because you can have a whole massive crop fail because of some stupid reason, and then you won't be able to sell the crop. Like, it can just be like the bad weather. You just had bad weather this year. Oh no. You mean all this money we spent on this crop is now gone because the crop, it failed. Have you ever had a crop fail in Stardew Valley? It's just like that, but times a billion, because it's real life. And these are big farms that take a lot of work. It's not just like clicking a button. My goodness. It's beautiful out today. Nice, dude. Finally not late. Hello, lawnmower. Farm work is basically the hardest work there is. Oh yeah, it's probably up there, yeah. But it's also very satisfying work, isn't it, farming? It looks satisfying. They get to play with nice machines too. Like a combine harvester. Ooh, those look cool and fun. Tractors. Ooh. Pretty fun. And animals are cute. Though you do have to end up butchering them and things, but... Seeing the fruits of your labor makes it all worth it. Yeah, like it's pretty satisfying, just like if you needed a fence rebuilding a fence around the farm. But it's nice to own all that land. You can have nice walks around the farm and stuff. And farming is often very glorified as well. True, yeah. True. I'm mad you're comparing Stardew Valley with actual farming. Well, I said it was times a million, times worse in real life. But we're all Stardew Valley gamers here, aren't we? I am. The 5090 has a really well-designed cooler. Oh! So the 5090 is smaller because of the cooler design then. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, they really upped the cooler designs on the 30 series, the 3080 and the 3090. They have really cool reference coolers. Before, NVIDIA's coolers were always terrible. Remember those stock reference design cards that just had a blower cooler on the end? Ugh. Those were awful, very loud and bad coolers. But the 30 series is when the reference coolers started looking almost better than the, you know, the aftermarket coolers from other companies. So this card has an aftermarket cooler because this gen of cards, you were crazy if you bought the reference design. The reference designs were always very loud and hot, whereas the aftermarket coolers were always way superior. With the 3000 series, they started making the reference coolers actually well designed and well engineered and nice. So they made a big upgrade with the 3000 series, but it's nice to hear that the 5090, they've upped the game again on the cooler. That's cool. Never played Stardew Valley. Oh, I see. I think you might like it. You might get addicted to it though, be careful, it's very addictive at first. When everyone was getting into Stardew Valley in 2020, I was building my org. I missed out. Oh no, well, building an org is probably, you know, building an org is probably better in the end than playing Stardew Valley, but Stardew Valley is probably a little bit more fun. It is a fun game. Vital says, I view farmers like the ultimate warriors with the truest of grit, real hard asses, all respect to the world's farmers. Hell yeah, dude. Well, the farmers are important. We can't really eat or survive without them. Let's not forget that they're important. I think not enough respect is given to those who work the jobs that we need in society. For example, people that deal with the waste in society, people who make the food, people who, you know, do all these things we need, electricians or power. What thing does FIMOTH do? Power line people, linemen. These are all like super important things for the infrastructure, people who build the roads. And for some reason, a lot of the time, people almost look down on them for having that kind of job. And it's like, what the fuck? You mean the people that literally are the reason we can do what we do? Like that shouldn't be looked down on as a profession at all. They are the reason like we can have this PC set up, because without, you know, without the food being delivered to our doors and without, you know, the roads being able for delivery people to even come deliver the parts and the electricity working, the internet working, all this infrastructure stuff, without that all working, there is, well, we're back to the Stone Age. A great stream would be Stardew Valley. Oh yeah, for you, yeah. If you did a Stardew Valley stream, like first time newbie, it would be pretty good for you. There are lots of Stardew Valley players that love to give new players tips and things, so. And backseat game, of course. Thank you for the lurk. Electrical lineman, yeah, we build and maintain the distribution grid. Yeah, that kind of job is like very important. Okay. Here we go. This cable, we haven't done anything on the PC in a while. Time to speed up things because it's getting, how long have we been streaming? 2 hours. Actually, I thought it'd been longer. That ain't too bad. But yeah, this cable can route through the bottom here. It'll be very easy here because it's just a single dingly-bingly cable. I'm just going to run it off one cable because I'm a madman. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. If it's not fine, you know what? I accept that I have destroyed my PC. It's fine. I'm pretty sure one cable will be fine. We did the math. We did some sort of math. It seemed okay. So there we go. We got a pigtail cable. Piggy-taily cable. Piggy-taily cable. And now this is behind, but nothing is plugged into the power supply yet, so we should probably do that. Plug some things into the power supply. How are we doing on power on the transmitter? And oh, the microphone's running out of battery now, again. I can only charge it half full from last time. So what I might do here is undo the power supply, like so. And then plug things into it. So, are these cables long enough to do that? Just about, I think. Is this cable long enough to do that? Just about. What about this cable? So, I've got all these cables that need to be plugged into the power supply. So we're just going to do that. And then the power supply should provide them with clean-ass power. Clean-ass power. So, this is the CPU thingy. So this power supply pretty much tells you what's what. That's useful. So I just go off what it tells me, I plug in there and I plug it in. So this is the CPU cable. It says here 6+2 PCIe and 4+4 CPU. So we can plug the CPU in any of these. I'm going to choose this one. There we go, that's plugged in. Wait, is this the right way around? Here it is. Boom, that's plugged in there. So we will need a SATA cable, maybe 2. Actually, probably 1. I think we only have 1 SATA device this time. So this is a SATA cable, and this is for age-old devices such as hard drive. So this delivers power to old devices, legacy devices, such as this hard drive. So I'm pretty sure this will use a SATA power cable, which is what this is referred to, I think. These are SATA power cables. And this will plug in where it says here, peripheral and SATA. So we're going to plug that in here. Boom. These are nice long cables, actually. It's quite easy to use these because I can undo the power supply and kind of plug everything into the back and then put the power supply back in. So it's nice that the power cables are nice and long. So we now have that plugged in. How do I want to route that? I think that should be fine. Yeah, should be fine. Got this cable here. This goes around there. That's okay. I might put this over this cable. So I'm just kind of organizing the cables in the back so that they make sense. We don't want the wrong cables on top of other cables when they should be the other way around, that kind of thing. Just so the back panel goes on, because if you put cables, like if you tangle the cables up too much, they'll make a mound of cables, and then the side panel won't go back on. It won't have enough space to. Here we go. So this should plug in 24-pin ATX. Yep, there's a special place for a 24-pin ATX, which is what this cable is. It's got a bit of a shorter cable for this one, which is annoying because all the others have been so long and lovely that I was getting used to having long and lovely cables, but now this cable has come along and it's all short on me. It's all short on that. Okay, is that plugged in? I think that's plugged in. So we just plugged in that cable. I'm going to look at the warning on this power supply. Maybe it says like, do not use one pigtail for your graphics card or it will explode. Max combined wattage is 648 watts. I mean, I feel like this power supply might not be enough power for this machine, but we'll see. Hopefully it is. I always got by with a 650 watt for a long time, so I think it will be fine. It's powering an 8 core and a 2080. Should be okay. Okay, so hard drive time. I think it's time to unpack this bad boy. So I think this is a new drive, but it might not be. I got this drive for a good price off Amazon, but it might be a fake. And by fake, I mean it might not be new. It might be a repackaged old drive sold as a new drive. This is typically done to scam customers and make money. And it's done a lot these days. It's happening everywhere. So basically data centers that own a lot of hard drives, they sell their used hard drives when they're refreshing their hard drive stock as new. So every few years, they get rid of all their drives and replace them to make sure their data is, you know, safe and the drives don't fail and stuff. And they will sell some of their used drives as new drives by repackaging them. It's very shady, and a lot of people are doing it. This does look legit. It looks legit. But I would have to check should I check the QR code on it? And check if it's real. Maybe I should. Yeah, I'm gonna check this shit. So I'm actually, no, I can't with, yeah, the phone's up there. I'll check that later maybe. I'll have a check and I'll update you on the Discord. So there are QR codes on the back of this. I'm sure if I look up these QR codes, it will determine if this is a real drive or not. From Seagate, and a new drive rather than an old drive. But also if we look on the computer on the smart information, it will tell me how much has been written to this drive in the past. So if we see a lot of data written, it's probably not a new drive. It's probably an old one. So there are ways to tell these things, and we will use those ways. So yeah, I think I'm just going to plug this in right in the end here. So this is a SATA cable here. I'm going to plug this in here. I might put a little extra effort in here and do a like close-up. Here we go. There we go, a little extra effort for you guys. So this is an L-shaped connector. As you can see, it's got like kind of L shape. Make sure you're doing the L shape the right way around and plug it in. These are actually very fragile, these types of connectors. Very fragile, so be careful. Easy to break these. I've broken some before in the past. That actually went in very easy, that one. Yeah, I have broken some of these in the past even, so yeah, pretty fragile, these connectors. Same with the SATA connectors themselves. And the SATA cable connector, I will show you right now. Looks like, well, this one it's gone missing. I did have it earlier. There it is. Looks like this. Old-fashioned SATA cable. These are basically what we used to use as data cables as the main way of using drives. Now, you'll only see these on hard drives and also slower SSD drives, because the bandwidth on these is only 6 gigabits per second, which isn't very fast as the bandwidth. So we kind of superseded this kind of connector, and now we just plug everything straight into PCIe lanes for storage. So I'll connect that and that's very similar to how that other one connected. I'll put a little extra effort in again and zoom in for you guys. See, it's an L-shaped connector again. And that just plugs in, make sure it's the right way around. And see if I can get a better view for you guys. It's hard because my hand gets in the way, doesn't it? I'll do a side-on view. That doesn't work. See, it's plugging in there. Plugged in. So there you go, that's the drive plugged up and working. So these pins on the hard drive. So these pins, I think they designate whether you want a master or a slave drive. Now there's no, a lot of the time there would be a pin coupler, which you would use to choose which pins you want bridged. But there's none on this drive, and I reckon probably the default state is probably no pin coupler. But there used to be on older drives pin couplers, which would set it to master or slave. You needed to have it in the right way. But I don't think we really do master and slave drives anymore. That was more of an older thing for older drives. But it still does have them, so it can still probably do the master and slave thing if you need. And then we need to screw it. So typically I'd actually do this the other way around, but we've done it this way around. We need to screw it in to this thingy bob over here. Now I should have some drive screws somewhere. So this is a hard drive tray. I'm having troubles getting it out because of the wires everywhere. Let's put this down a second. Set this down. Put this back in to pull it out. Yeah, hard drive tray with rubber grommets to stop vibration. This is a pretty standard hard drive tray. It's quite a good one though. I like it. And we screw the hard drive into these rubber mounts here using provided screws that come with a case. So I'm just going to find those. Almost forgot I'd need to do that. So here's the case box. Has no screws inside because I took them all out the other day and threw them all over the table. Now I've got to remember what hard drive screws look like now. What do hard drive screws look like? I think these are it. I think they might be these. Hard drive screws. We'll see if those go in the holes, I guess. Seeing if I have any other types of screws that might... Oh shit, I just dropped a load of screws out of their baggie. But these also look like they might be... No, it's got to be these ones. It's got to be the longer ones because it needs to go through the rubber grommet. So I think those are it. I'll keep looking just in case I find another screw that looks more suitable. No, I think these must be the screws. What about these ones? No. Yeah, these must be it. These must be the hard drive screws. We got 4 of them, so that's how many we need. We must have used some more earlier on another build. These must be from... No, I must have used some of these earlier. What's up? Hey, let's get nuts. How you doing? So I'm periodically catching up with chat, by the way, guys, so... If you're worried about me not reading chat, don't worry, I catch up periodically while I'm doing this. Working around high voltage electricity and stuff seemed risky. True. So the workers' alignment can get exciting and pretty rewarding. That's good. You can be fine with 1 PCIe power for the GPU. I bet the second one is for overclocking. Yeah, so it depends on the wattage of the GPU. I think this one has low enough wattage that I don't need a second cable. But I am a bit worried about the power supply being too low wattage, but I think it's just about enough. Might have some problems later because as power supplies age, they lose efficiency. So if you've got like a 5-year-old power supply, it will lose like maybe 10% efficiency and then maybe won't be able to power your parts. So you've always got to kind of remember that with power supplies that, you know, you should probably buy more than you need wattage-wise because it will reduce in efficiency over time and that can lead to problems later. So I'm just going to get this power supply lined up here in the port. I think that looks good. Just screw this in now. Screw this in. You can kind of see everything because this is quite a wide camera. Whoop. Yeah, you can see everything, can't you? There we go. Just making sure it was zoomed out all the way so you can see more of the scene. I'll just screw this in. Yeah, these do look like they are the right screws. So when you're screwing this kind of screw in, don't do them too tight because what you want to do is leave some, you know, you want to leave the rubber available to damp the vibrations. So if you do the screws too tight, the rubber won't be damping the vibration anymore. And damping vibrations of hard drives, I think it not only reduces noise, but it also reduces longevity of the hard drive, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, vibration dampening is pretty good, a good thing. It looks like there's not a hole here where the other grommet is, so I'll have to move this grommet. So I'll take that out and put that in back here and move it across if I can. And I can move it across, cool. So yeah, that different hard drives will have the holes in different places. This one happens to have them in these places. So I did have to move those grommets, but it's no worry. No worries. Now, I feel like the screwdriver's the wrong size for these screws, but it's getting the job done still. Putting those rubber grommets in the right place, screwing in. Making sure I'm not too tight on the rubber. Want, you know, a bit of compression on the rubber, but not too much. Don't deform the rubber too much. There we go. I think that's pretty much done. I'd say so. Seems fine. There we go. So we can now put the drive in. It's just going to slide in nicely. And yeah, it should be good. So we'll slide this in nicely. Now it might be more for the thermally efficient to place it in the bottom chamber. So should I do that? Should I place it in the bottom chamber? Yeah, I might. It leaves it more room. Actually, is it more? I don't think it... Let me just check the other side. I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters. So I'm just going to leave it in the top. Okay, and then this SATA cable then needs to be routed to the front of the case, where the SATA ports are. So we'll just route these through, I think, here. Just double check. Made a bit of a whoopsie. Oh no, it's fine. There's a SATA cable right here we can plug in. Oh, this motherboard actually needs L connectors to connect this, but I think I'll get away with a flat. So some SATA cables are L connectors, so they go like this. They're L's, so some ports will be better with an L connector. Usually, on most motherboards these days, you just want flat SATAs, but this particular case wants an L SATA in this position, but I think we'll still get away. Oops, we got a power supply daisy chain now, so we've got to be careful. We got a power supply daisy chain to the back of the PC. Got to be careful here. So yeah, I think I'll get away here, because that's SATA 1, SATA 2. Yeah, I think I'll get away with a flat connector. I do have some L connectors in another room in the house, in boxes. So the L, yeah, we'll get away with a flat connector here. But maybe I'll, at some point, replace it with an L connector, but for now, we're fine with the flat connector. There we go, that's actually plugged in more easily than I thought. Hard drive screws have the big flange. Yeah, these have big flanges, yeah. So the flange is for, like, you know, rubber mounting. It depends where you're mounting the hard drive, because sometimes a hard drive screw will just be a normal little screw, and you just screw it in. With this tray system, they have a special screw that's longer with a big flange on it, and that's because you're compressing down a rubber grommet with this mounting system. So it just depends on the mounting system you're using. Usually the hard drive screws will come with the case you're using, because the case will be outfitted for, you know, however many hard drives, and they'll have their own way of mounting them into the case. So they'll want you to use their special screws. Anyway, that SATA cable is plugged in. Have we done a tidy job of it? Not really. See if I can do a better job. That's about as good as it's going to get, unless I get an L connector. So I might get an L connector for this, but not right now. Maybe I'll change that out later if I can be bothered. But it is going to work like this, so looks like it will work. So that hard drive is now plugged in. And that hard drive is going to be very useful for me. It's going to save all the VODs from the stream so that we don't lose them. I'm spinning this around very awkwardly. Bloody hell. Very awkwardly indeed. Because we've got to get to this side again. Okay. Yeah, it's very awkward with the power supply hanging out. So what do we need to do now? We didn't get all the power supply cables in, did we? Because there's a graphics card cable right here that needs to be plugged in. And that might need everything to come forwards here. So I might need to move the power supply forwards back into the case for this to reach, because it's a shorter cable. But that routes around just fine and dandy. How much cable do we actually have? Oh no, we got some spare cable back here. Just need to pull it through a bit more. We got some spare cable, so that is going to reach. This is quite an easy build, power supply wise. And that's going to plug in, I think, right next to the CPU. Why not? Or should I space them out? Let's do the GPU at the back here. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Space them out a bit. There we go. So that's plugged in. Anything else we forgot to plug in? I think not. I think this PC is all plugged in. We got every component in now, don't we? We got the graphics card, we got the capture card, we got the CPU, we got the RAM, we got the SSD, we got the hard drive, we got every wire I can conceivably think of plugged in to the right port, to the power supply as well. Yeah, we're all done. Now, this is a working PC. However, it's still got things hanging around, like wires hanging out. Power supply itself is currently hanging out, as you can see. It's a mess. It's a big mess. Look at all these wires, messy, messy, messy. So now is the tidying phase. So we're just going to tidy up these wires so it's, you know, acceptable. Needs to be acceptable. And then we'll power it on. And yeah, as someone just said in chat, it's almost time to power the bad boy up. It is. It is. We got all the fans screwed in here, all nice and tight, plugged into the motherboard as well. Yeah, looking good. We have some lovely DisplayPort outs here. So what display do I actually get out? I get two display ports, one USB-C out. Ooh, I liked it when graphics card has that. They removed that feature on the newer cards, I think. So 2080 and 3080. Now actually, maybe they removed it on the 3080, but the 2080 has a USB-C DisplayPort out. That's pretty cool to have that. It means you can plug this into, there are lots of displays now with USB-C display inputs. So you can plug it into one of those. It's also useful for some VR headsets. So some VR headsets, such as the Quest 2 and Quest 3, will accept a USB-C connection, and you can just connect that straight to the Quest and use the PC, what's it called? Wired PC link feature. And these ports are like perfect for that. So it was nice when they had those USB-Cs, but they stopped doing it. I guess no one cared enough for them to keep it. But yeah, two display ports, one USB-C and one HDMI. It's a bit of a shame that they only have one HDMI a lot of the time, because these days HDMI is more and more popular. I think HDMI is going to like erase DisplayPort one day. We're just going to have HDMI only at some point, because HDMI is getting faster and faster. And it's the more popular tech for televisions and things, and now monitors are now adopting it, and consoles and everything. So I think HDMI is getting more popular. Hey, Petite Lolita. Hey, Like a Dove for real. Just joined, so I'm sorry because this was probably already asked, but this is your first PC build. Now, I've built loads, so I've been building PCs since 2007. I've built so many I've lost count, so this isn't my first PC build. But it is my first. I haven't done any PC builds for a while, so it's been probably my first in a few years, because I've kind of just been, you know, not building many PCs. But yeah, I used to build lots of PCs for family, friends. The thing is, the PCs I built them were so good, they're still using them all these years later, so... yeah, I haven't had to build a PC in a while. And I've kind of been using the same PC specs for a while as well, so I haven't done my own PC in a while either. So let's get this back in here. So I'm currently sliding the power supply back in position, and there's a lot of resistance because all these wires want to, you know, they're thick wires wanting to bunch up here. But we are finding some purchase here. The power supply is sliding in. There we go. So just for some context here, because you couldn't really see that very well, the power supply was out, and I'm sliding it in. You see this thing, sliding it in. And then I'll screw it in with the supplied screws, which should be, oh, they're actually dangling out the back of the case. I'm back. Hey, Petite Lolita. Ever experienced your computer starting to smoke when starting it for the first time? Shit sucks? No. That sounds awful, though. I did have one PC that I built for a friend that blew up, but I kind of knew it would blow up. Because the power supply we used was very cheap. So it was a budget build, right? And I was saying, you really should save a bit more money and get like a better power supply. I just breathed in a bit of dust. That was awful. There's a big bit of dust. Yeah, so I was saying you really should, you know, spend a bit more and get a better power supply, but he was just like, no, it has to be this budget. This was when he was quite young, my friend. He was probably 17 or 18. So it was probably like a Christmas budget from his mum or something. But anyway, we were building his PC to budget, and we went for a no-name brand power supply from a site called Overclockers UK. So it was their own brand, which basically means no brand, because Overclockers wasn't really a brand back then at all to be trusted. And it was a 550 watt, which was more than enough wattage. I even remember the wattage. 550 watt power supply. And it blew up one day. He was just, you know, using his PC as normal, and it blew up, and smoke came out of his PC, and it damaged the graphics card. And the way it damaged his graphics card was, he could still use the graphics card, but one of the ports was all purple tinted. So if you used one of the DisplayPort outs, it had like two DisplayPort outs, right? One of them, everything was purple on the screen. The other one still worked. So he got lucky there. So it didn't completely destroy his PC. It just kind of like damaged his graphics card in a weird way. But yeah, we just replaced the power supply with a real one from like Corsair or somewhere like that. Probably a Corsair back then, because Corsair were really good back then. I think they're still pretty good. And yeah, his PC worked after that, thankfully. Is the PC finished? It's almost finished, Judy. Well, it's working. Well, it should be. Everything's plugged into where it should be. I'm just kind of tidying it up now. So I'm tidying up the cables. I'm jamming all the cables where they should be in the back of the case. So I'm literally just jamming them all into a crevice. That's what a lot of us PC builders do now. A lot of these cases these days have places to just jam the excess cables so it looks tidy. I also have some cable ties. I don't know if I'm going to use them today. Maybe I will. And this case actually has a nice feature, to be honest. It has a feature that helps with the tidying, which is... I'll just mirror this screen again. Which is this. It has some Velcro tidies here, so you can basically put a lot of wires here, down this channel, and you can Velcro tie them down. So that's useful. To be extra tidy, I should probably also use cable ties to be extra tidy. And I have some cable ties here, so I might do that in a second. Anyway, so I'll just continue organizing the wires, but I'll get you in a position where you can actually see for once. I feel like I've been slacking on the camera positioning today. Yeah, there we go. That kind of works. So I'm just finding where I can tidy these cables up. Now I can put this cable behind here with these ones. And I can tie these down with a Velcro to keep them nice and snug out of the way here. That's the 24-pin cable, the nice fat, thick one. And the other cables are basically the front panel I/O cables and also some fan cables here for these front fans. Did we plug in the front fans to the case? I think we did. We'll see if they turn on, I guess. We'll just see if those turn on. I'm pretty sure we plugged them in. Yeah, it looks like they're plugged in somewhere. Okay, so stuff these cables down here. And then we've got some excess cables dangling down here. We're going to actually tie those up, I think, behind this Velcro, where we just tied, but we're going to undo that Velcro and put these back here where they belong. The cables we aren't using, basically. There we go. That's all neatish. Neatish. And then undo this Velcro here. Some more cable tidying goodness. And pretty much with this case, I try to do as much cable tidying as I can with these Velcro straps. You can't do it all, but you can do a lot with these. It sorts out a lot of trouble on this front side of the case. Sorts out a lot of trouble. A lot of troubling cables. There we go. And the goal right now is just to get this tightened down enough that we can actually get the thing on, the side panel on, sorry. So that we can actually get the side panel on. So I might put these cables up here. Just out of the way. There we go. That works. Works pretty well. And then how are we doing for cables? So make sure this SATA cable is still plugged into the hard drive, because the SATA cables are annoying. They're flat cables, and those are annoying to position because they take up a lot of space in one dimension, don't they? Being flat as they are. In fact, I might undo this SATA cable and yeah, I'm going to undo this SATA cable and kind of reroute it because it's currently taking up more space than it needs to because of its annoying flat shape. Like a tapeworm, and we're going to go under here. That's better, yeah, that's better. And plug it back in here. So just rejigging some cables that need to be rejigged, that kind of thing. That's nice and rejigged, so that's not taking up space. This was actually rather an easy build because we're not using many components, we're just using a few. So there aren't too many wires. It's harder once you have multiple hard drives and multiple bits and bobs, but this build is quite simple. It's pretty much as simple as you can get. It would be even more simple if there weren't a hard drive. That would be the only way to make it more simple. Can't believe there are unsubbed people in the chat. Oh my goodness. But thank you so much. Judy Bamboody for the tier 1 gifted to Like a Dove. Thank you. I appreciate the patronage. And also, of course, a bow of respect. Thank you so much. I'm honored to receive yet another sub. Thank you so much, guys. How dare they? How dare they be unsubbed? True, true. How dare... No, the worst thing is having a Prime sub and not using it. That's the worst. By the way, guys, if you're eligible for an Amazon Prime free trial, you can get a free Prime sub. If you link your Amazon account with your Twitch account, you can get a free Prime sub, I'm pretty sure. So you can give me a free Prime sub if you have an Amazon Prime trial available. Now, most of us don't have those available because we've already used them up. So, yeah, but if you're eligible for that, you can give out some free Primes. Loving the stream as always. Thank you, Fimorph. Thank you. I'm loving doing this stream, yeah, it's been fun. I've been liking doing these PC building streams. It's a bit different for me. I've appreciated the challenge of getting it all working, you know, getting the stream working, getting the cameras set up in a decent way. I think we found a decent way. It would be better with more cameras, but I only have, whoops, I only have this one available. But if I did this again, I'd probably get a few more cameras on the go that I could switch between. Let's get a better, that's a better position, nice. So yeah, need to do up the power supply on the back with these screws. And then, what do we need to do then? Well, there is a bit of tidying that needs to go on. Look at this cable's dangling out. That's not right. It needs to be tucked in somewhere. But yeah, this build is pretty much done to my satisfaction. It's pretty much done. Now, why won't this screw in? It's being a naughty screw, this one. Is that for any reason? No, it's not. There wasn't even any reason why it was being naughty. It was just being naughty for the heck of it. Thought maybe the screw was broken, maybe unthreaded or something, but no. There was no reason for the rebellion against me. Just for the hell of it, I guess. Okay, so what we got here, that's pretty much tidy, I mean, we could just jam this cable behind there. That looks a bit more tidy, nice. This SATA cable is a bit of a loose cannon, but if I tuck that behind there, so I'm just tucking cables behind other cables to get, you know, less space taken up. Now I could probably tuck this SATA cable more in here. So yeah, we can, nice. So I just tucked a SATA cable in, so it takes up less space. These fan cables. Oh, I think I do a trick with these fan cables. I think usually I tuck them in the side here. That usually works, because they got big bulky connectors that actually tuck behind here. And then I don't really have to do... Yeah, hey! I remembered. So yeah, I've had experience with this mess of... Yeah, so these can actually just tuck behind, I think. I don't think I even need to use a cable tie. I don't think I even need to use one. Just need to tuck. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Fry a tuck. Oh, they came undone. Be careful, if you tuck too much, the cables will rebel and they will come undone. Yeah, we can tuck, tuck, tuck away. Call me Fry a tuck, because I am tucking right now. Okay. Jam, jam, jam. Jamming the cables. Now, I might be getting a bit overzealous with this jamming. I think I've jammed too hard. Yeah, I think I've jammed these cables too hard. They're not playing nicely anymore. Okay, so I might have to slow down on jamming these ones and get some cable ties out. Might actually have to get some cable ties out. Or not. Are we okay? Are we okay? Well, I think that's... it's not pretty, but it's okay. That'll work, I think. Yeah, yeah, that'll work. And then this is a backplate thing that can hold SATA SSDs. You can screw them into this. I don't have any SATA SSDs for this build, but I'm going to put this back just so it's there for maybe future drives that we use. It actually goes the other way. Does it go the other way around? No, it doesn't. It does go this way. It does go this way. I just couldn't find the right thingies. There we go. It goes there, does it? Yes, it goes there. Cool. Nice. So screw that in. And that looks like this. Looks a little like this. There you go. So I just screwed this plate back in. We needed to remove that to do the back plate, which is there now, of the CPU cooler. And that's how the back looks. So as you can see, it's not like a super, super duper epic clean job, but it's pretty clean, and the side panel should go back on. So for example, so if I'm doing this for realsies, I'd probably secure this cable somewhere, so it's not just loose. I'll probably secure these cables somewhere. But I mean, these cables are actually pretty secured here, so that's an all right job already. I'll probably get these out of the way more professionally. But I mean, you could give someone this PC as a build and they would be happy with this. It actually makes it kind of easier if you're in the process of changing parts around to have nothing cable tied, if you can, because then you can, you have more freedom to move things around. Then you can cable tie it once you've found the ideal situation. Yeah, but this build, not many wires really in this build, because it's pretty simple. The only thing back here is the hard drive. What makes things complicated sometimes is when you have these SATA SSDs here, you need to get power to them, which means you need to use these awful SATA cables, power cables, and route them up here, and they take up a lot of space because they're a bulky plastic connector, and they have daisy chain connectors, so those things are a real pain. But because we don't have any of those in this build, it's actually been very easy around the back here. I mean, I could use some cable ties to make it extra pro, but this is fine. Just make sure this, yeah, that's fine. Make sure the hard drive is connected all right, seems fine. No issues here. So I'll check the front again, but I think first actually we'll put this panel on. So I think any panel will do. These panels are symmetrical, I think. So I'll just clean this panel off with a microfiber, because it's got a little bit of like dust and things on it. I'll plop that on. Actually got dog hair on it. Doggy hair. And that looks pretty clean now, apart from this bit of dust. Get away, a bit of fluff, dusty fluff. Oh well, it's integrated now with the panel, that's fine. Put this on. Oopsie. Doing things one-handed is hard. Yeah, I might have to change the camera position for this. I was thinking of, yeah, it's not going to work one-handed. These panels are kind of tricky to get on. They're not, well, they're fine. They're not too hard, but they're a little tricky. These panels are a little tricky because you need to kind of like, they're the kind of panels you need to slide and position and compress at the same time. So some panels just go on like this, then slide. Some panels you need to just kind of put on and screw in. Some panels, this one you need to kind of put in at an angle, I think. Like this. And is that even, it's not even engaging because something's blocking it. So this is what I mean by it's tricky. There, it's engaged now. Now we press, and it looks like that goes on fine. And this is actually the right panel, it seems, because the scratches line up with the... I can see some scratches lining up with the bottom of the PC. So yeah, these panels are scratched up because I'm typically not very careful with my own panels. Of course, I would be if it were a PC for someone else, but if it's for me, I don't care too much about scratching some panels up. I'm pretty, you know, not fussed about scratches on my PCs. So I just kind of chuck the panels all over the place while I'm building. But if I were doing someone else's PC, I'd make sure to baby the panels so they can't get scratched. There we go. Whew. Judy Bamboody says, "Ah, yes, I was waiting for days for that final step of closing the PC." So yeah, that's closing the back. Now we'll close the front. But before that, I need to put these PCIe spacers back in. So let's see if we have any here. I've got them somewhere around the room somewhere. Where are those suckers? Yeah, so I'm looking for PCIe blanks, which you place in the free spots just to make things tidy. And I will be needing as well some thumb screws. Now I'm pretty sure I have all the parts I need here. These are some thumb screws. I could just use these. Looking for spacers. I do have them somewhere. I've been like looking at them. Oh, I think in here. I think in this box, or this blue box, I have them. Yes, I do. Amazing. I have two, just as the prophecy foretold. And do I have thumb screws in here? I think I do. I think I do. I think I do. I have two thumb screws too. So these must have been the same thumb screws that I used. This is from this case, I think. So they've been sitting in that blue box for years. Just waiting for me to install them. And here we go. So one in here. Nice. And one in here. And these just screw in like a PCIe card would. And they're basically just blanks that, you know, have some cooling vents in them. But it's just to make things look tidy, really. Prevent children from sticking their fingers inside the PC. Which they definitely would do, by the way. Kids are maniacs. Little kids are maniacs. They're going to jam their fingers inside any hole in your PC they can find. Because they're curious, aren't they? So if they see some fans and lights spinning up inside your PC, they're going to try to get in there any way they can. So these probably do make your PC more child safe too. But I mean, technically the PCs are going to run without these in. Not like a needed part, just for aesthetics. Did I cut myself? No, but you know what? I think my finger feels a bit raw from screwing so many things in recently. From using so many screwdrivers recently. But no, there's no cut on my finger. It just feels a bit raw. I've worn it raw with screwdrivers. Okay, just making sure all of these are nice and tightish. Not so tight we can't undo them. There we go. And final check, is everything plugged in? Has anything been jostled? Is everything plugged in? Has anything been jostled? That is the question. And the answer to that is no, nothing has been jostled and everything is plugged in. Yes, everything indeed has been plugged in. Amazing. Now, how many USB ports do we have on this sucker? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 USB ports, 1 Type-C port. Actually, 2 Type-C ports, including the graphics card. What a useful graphics card that it has a USB-C. I love that. Yeah. So that's how many USB ports we have to play with. I just needed to check that to see if I needed an expansion card. I don't think I do. I think I'm fine with the number of USB ports on here. Should be fine. So then finally, after we get a good look inside the PC, of course, we're going to put the final panel on and we're going to see if it turns on. So I'm going to have to find a power cable, which I don't know where that is, but we will find one. Thought it was the front side. No, this is the front side. So here we have it. So going from bottom to top, we have the Elgato capture card. This is a 4K60 Pro Mark II. It's an older capture card, but it still works pretty good. No HDMI 2.1 though. Oh no, that's kind of sad, but still good. Then we have this MSI Duke GeForce 2080 RTX. It's the first gen of RTX cards. So also pretty old now, but it will do the job. Then we have the Thermalright CPU cooler here, courtesy of Fimorth. This is a twin tower CPU cooler with 2 fans there, 120mm. The fans seem good quality, the cooler seems good quality. I'm guessing this is going to be a good cooler. I've never used a Thermalright before, but it seems like this is a great brand. Reasonably priced as well. We've got some Acasa old-ass fans here. I think these fans are like 20 years old or some shit. They are so old, they might not work anymore, we'll see. But yeah, these are the first fans I ever bought for my PC. Like these are so old. And then we got 2 Corsair fans here, salvaged from another build, which was a Corsair 200R case. So I salvaged these from another build to use in this one. And what else we got here? The motherboard is a B350M Mortar. It's a micro ATX motherboard. I made the mistake of buying micro ATX to try it out. Results were, I don't like micro ATX. I'll never buy one again. But, you know, we've got this. I mean, if we have the parts, it's still useful, you know. This is still going to be a good machine, regardless of being a micro ATX machine. It's just, you know, losing those PCIe ports is really annoying. Like, look, we only have 2 ports, realistically. We have the graphics card port and then this port. We can't have any more expansion cards. That's kind of rough. Kind of rough. I guess we could use a PCIe riser to plug like a cable in and then maybe get another card out of it, but the card might have to be dangling off. But yeah, we probably could get access to that if we really needed. It'd be untidy though. And yeah, everything's plugged in, so all the fans are plugged in with fan splitters. So the CPU fan is plugged in there. These fans they're plugged in down here. See that cable there under the 4K60 Pro? One of those is for fans, the other one is for HD audio. I don't think there's much more to talk about with this build. It's pretty much done. This is a complete PC. And around the back, under this shroud, we have, courtesy of Fimorth again, who's in chat right now, I think, we have the 16 terabyte hard drive, which is going to store all the stream VODs and bulk data storage as well. It's very useful for me. I kind of need that. So Fimorth came in clutch there because I was actually running out of space on my main drive that I use. I have another 16 terabyte drive. It's almost full. It's got about 800 gig left and it's filling up fast. So yeah, and the case itself is a Fractal Design Mini C. It's a nice micro ATX case. I think it does actually fit a full ATX if you really wanted to. I think it does have space for a full ATX motherboard, but it's going to be a freaking tight squeeze. I might even be wrong about that. Maybe it doesn't have space for a full ATX, but either way, I wouldn't recommend micro ATX if you're thinking about it. If you want a small PC, go mini ITX, because then it will actually be small. Micro ATX is just like a shorter ATX. It just takes up less vertical space, really. But the horizontal space, the footprint of the PC is still the same. So the footprint with ATX is pretty much the same as micro ATX, like they're the same. But then the vertical height of the PC is taller with ATX usually. And just based on that, the footprint being the same, I don't really see much of an advantage to going micro ATX. Usually they're more expensive as well than ATX, what you get for the money. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Hey Leprechaun, top of the morning to you. Dream PC. Yeah, I mean, this PC is pretty good. It's old though. This is like an old high-end PC. How old, you say? This is probably good for 2020 or something, right? Probably a 2020 like bucket list PC for a gamer. But nowadays it's, you know, it's like 5 years old tech. So, but yeah, it's perfect for what I'm using it for, which is to offload encoding as the stream PC. As a like sidekick to my main PC, it's pretty damn perfect. And it will perfectly do the job. Or let's hope so. So let's get the side panel back on, shall we? Let's close up the sarcophagus of this ancient PC. Like I said, 5 years old. Tech moves fast these days. This is an old-ass PC. But yeah, it's still going to have enough performance for what I need it for. Okay, so I really like this cooler. It's black. Look at that, it has black accenting on it. It looks kind of cool. Any fans with wires in the way? That's another good question. I don't think so. I don't think there are any fans with wires in the fan blades, which can be an issue, so always check that. Nope, don't see any wires in fan blades or anything like that. It's a pretty clean build, really. I mean, these pigtaily PCIe cables are ugly. They've always been ugly. That's kind of why they changed connector. So that's a bit ugly, but what are you going to do? It needs those. It needs the ugly cables to work. So yeah, let's close it up. Thermals should be fine on this PC. It should be fine. Nothing in here is too demanding on thermals. It's not like my other PC where I have the 3090 and the 5950X, both of which are insanely hot running components and produce so much heat that my PC actually struggles to exhaust the heat out the fans, out the fan slots. But yeah, this should be fine thermally. Should be fine. Should be an easy one to cool down. I think we've got enough fans in here. Some of the fans might be noisy and old. If they are, I guess I'll replace them at some point. I would like some quiet PCs. This one over here is quite quiet these days. It's quiet enough. Just about reaches my standard of quietness, which is quite quiet, but you know, I don't have the best standards for quietness. I used to have very loud PCs. In fact, for years, I was running a PC with a broken fan that made this noise all the time. And that was just in the background of the stream for a long time. You only heard it if I spoke though, because of the noise gate, but it was there. So we finally fixed that just a few months ago. Close the damn PC. I did. This bad boy is gonna send out at least 3 streams to the internet. Oh yeah, baby. So let's take a look at the rear panel, shall we? So you can see what kind of I/O we have with this machine. It's quite heavy now. Once you put everything together, oh boy, is it heavy. Just notice this fan up here is kind of dirty. I'll clean it one day. So yeah, I'll just show you the rear, the back side, the badonkadonk of the PC. So there we go. Exhaust fan, another exhaust fan up top. There's the I/O on this thing. So we got the old mouse port there, old mouse and keyboard PS/2 port. We got the mouse and keyboard ports here that you're meant to use for mouse and keyboard. Just standard USB 2 ports, really. Then although sometimes with gaming motherboards, they're like optimized ports for gaming. I don't know how they optimize them, but maybe they are optimized for gaming, who knows. But yeah, those are keyboard and mouse ports. Then we got the DVI out, which I'm pretty sure is non-functional on this PC because I don't have a graphics card on my CPU. So this is for if you have an integrated graphics card, really. There's also a HDMI out and a DisplayPort. Again, this is all integrated graphics shit. I don't have an integrated graphics, so I can't use these, I don't think. I don't think I can even use these. We have a USB-C out, which is useful. Although, from memory, I don't think this USB-C port has good drivers, so it kind of is hit and miss. Some devices work with this, some don't, from memory. And then we have a USB 3.1 or 3.2 port. It says VR ready for this Type-C. Cool, but I think I tried to use it for VR once and it was kind of hit and miss. But it's supposed to be VR ready. Then we got, so VR ready used to be a huge thing back when I built this PC. It was like this PC is VR ready. It means it has at least a 970 GTX graphics card capabilities, right? That's pretty much what it meant usually. But I'm guessing by this, they mean this port can support VR output. That must have been jarring. What must have been jarring? I can finally go in game since I know this beauty is finished. Yes, we are going to power it on in a second and see if it powers on. Because it might not power on and then it's troubleshooting time. Have an awesome day or night, everyone. Peace and love to you all. Peace and love, Judy Bamboody. Thanks for dropping by, as always. And thank you for the support today. Thank you for the gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Without you guys gifting those subs and etc., without the bits cheered, etc., I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you. I wouldn't be able to be here. You know how it is. But thank you so much. And I'll see you in the Discord. We had Ethernet ports. We have a couple more USB, I think 3.1s. It might be 3.2, I'm not sure. But they're fast USBs, basically. They be fast. And then the normal, you know, optical out and audio outputs, which I'll probably be using one of these because I'll be connecting it through the Go XLR to the line out. I'm not sure exactly which PC connects where on this. So I've got a Go XLR. It's a useful bit of kit and it is set up for 2 PC setups. So this hardware here, which is very dusty because I've been blowing dust all over it recently with the blower. As you can see, this thing collects dust like anything because it's made out of that shiny plastic. But yeah, this thing should have everything I need for the dual PC audio solution on the stream. Zooming in and out for a dramatic effect. Nice. Yeah, so that should handle that. but I'll have to actually remind myself how this works, like which PC plugs in here and which PC goes to the line out. I'll have to figure that out, so I'll figure that out off stream, I think. Yeah, while I set up, so after this I have to set up the stream using both PCs, which is going to be a bit of a technical thing to set up, but I'm sure I'll manage. It won't take too long. So we have the graphics card, outputs, USB, DisplayPort, HDMI, DisplayPort. Is this another DisplayPort? Hey, we got 3 DisplayPorts here. What a G. So this has more outputs than my current 3090. NVIDIA used to give us more for the money. They've been cheaping out on us recently. And then the Elgato with an in and out for HDMI. So you plug in the game or source you want to record, and then out, you put that to your screen, and then that will be passed through. So it will pass through whatever's here to your screen, so you can view what you're playing, and it will also get recorded. Quite good things, capture cards. Quite useful things. And then the power supply is down here. It has just a power switch. I don't think this one has an eco mode or anything like that. If it does, the eco mode switch isn't on the back. It's probably on the other side. I didn't see an eco switch, but sometimes power supplies have an eco or, you know, standard switch, so you can turn it to like silent mode if you hate noise, or you can turn it to standard mode to have a cooler power supply with a fan always on. Now this one probably has an auto fan controller, which is already set to eco mode probably, most likely. So it's probably going to control the fan, and when it has low load, the fan will probably turn off. When it has higher load, it will probably turn on. I think this is a pretty smart one because it says I. If something says I, it's got to be a smart power supply, right? So it probably has some smart features where it controls the fan very precisely and accurately or whatever for the load it's given. And then the power plus supply switch is here. I never remember which one is on and which is off. The circle or the other one. I always forget. You don't really need to know. You try one position, if it doesn't work, you try the other position. Looking good, thank you. It's looking pretty snazzy on the back actually, isn't it? It's got a nice badonkadonk. That looks pretty premium actually. And then the front, it's got that monolith style. It's like the monolith from 2001 Space Odyssey. I like monoliths. Yeah, monoliths are cool. I wish everything looked like a monolith, including us. Wish we were just floating blocks in space. We did it, gamers. I wonder if they've been putting fewer outputs because of GPU mining. You can control a whole mining rig remotely after setup. So you're thinking because of the demand of GPU miners, they put less ports on because GPU miners don't care about ports? You're probably fucking right, and you're probably right, and that is depressing. So that's why they're doing that. So all the gamers on the subreddits of Reddit for PC building have gotten up in arms against NVIDIA because they're saying NVIDIA doesn't care about gamers anymore. They don't care about consumers. All they care about is getting the big bucks from AI companies and crypto mining factories or whatever. There's probably a lot of truth to that. And, other companies that just need a lot of GPUs. So there are big, rich companies that need lots of GPUs these days, and NVIDIA seems to cater for them more, and they're kind of leaving gamers in the dust, and we are the ones that built them in the first place. We built NVIDIA. The gamers, we built this company. We will be the death of the company if they don't, if they're not nice to us. So, anyway. Yeah, so they've left us in the dust with this recent series. It's not very exciting for gamers at all. Nice camera angle. Thank you, Casper. Yeah, I was doing a wide stance here so you can see more of me. Fucking NVIDIA. Yeah, no one likes them anymore. They used to be the kings for gaming. Now no one likes them. Now everyone wants to switch to AMD. I might join them if the next AMD cards are any good. If they take the performance crown, I'm joining AMD for sure. All I really care about at the end of the day, how fast is a component? How much does it cost? Hello, gamers. Yeah, the mic ran out of battery again. Where is it? It's here. Oh, it doesn't say it's out of battery. Oh, is this out of battery? Wait, this is out of battery. How did... Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe this... Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. Yeah, so... Because I only had one USB-C cable, I had to charge one then the other, so one of these parts only had low battery and the other one, yeah. So the receiver has low battery. The transmitter has high battery. So I'm going to put this receiver on charge now. I forgot which one was the transmitter and which was the receiver. The microphone is the transmitter. The other one is the receiver. It's easy to get mixed up. But I'll put these on charge now. So one of the pieces only had half charge, which is why it ran out. I just went and plugged those back in. Lovely. Now we're using the stationary mic. Mike is out at the start of the AMD versus Nvidia rant. That's a real shame because that rant was good. That rant was really high quality, guys. I'm sorry you missed out on that. It was actually so informative and it probably would have changed your life in some way, you know? It was very like life-changing advice and you know, takes and everything. So AMD versus Nvidia. So what I was saying, Nvidia used to be the kings for gamers, right? Nvidia used to be the kings for gamers. And the reason is, Pro Streamer, thank you T-Smooth. The reason that Nvidia used to be the kings for gamers is that they had better driver support, faster graphics cards. They were the cards you wanted. They had more features like PhysX and more support for the latest games. They would always have like deals with games where they're like, oh, you can enable this super awesome setting if you buy Nvidia. So they were the kings for a long time for gamers. But I think AMD will have a good opportunity now to take the crown away. What I hope though with the AMD is that they fix their driver support, because the last time I had an AMD card, I had a very bad experience with driver support. So we bought an AMD card for one of my brother's computers because it made sense at the time. I mean, they had very good performing cards. I think this was the AMD 5000 series, I think. 5000 series, I think it was that. So we got a card from that line, and it's almost like every new game that came out, you'd have to wait months for a driver fix so you can actually play the game. You don't have to do that with Nvidia. Usually they have a driver straight away, so to their credit, Nvidia do, in my experience, have a better driver experience. I don't know if that's changed yet, but it's something that AMD needed to catch up on. At least the last time I tried AMD. But yet, they're in a good position to take over because the latest cards from Nvidia aren't very performative compared to last gen. And the gap between AMD cards and Nvidia cards is pretty small right now. So if AMD's next gen is a lot faster, they could take the performance crown. And like I always say with PC parts and that, I just care what is the price, how does it perform, and what are the other perks, and you know, and how's the driver support, basically. So whatever is better, I will just buy that. So if AMD becomes better than Nvidia, I'll probably just switch, like I did with AMD and Intel. As soon as AMD made Ryzen, I switched to AMD. I've been using AMD processors ever since. Yeah, that's what I think about the AMD and Nvidia situation right now. But no one's happy with Nvidia on all the forums. All the PC builders are unhappy, and they think they've kind of dropped the gamers that built their company, right? They don't care about consumers or gamers anymore. They care more about AI companies, tech companies, and you know, the big companies with lots of money buying their GPUs in droves. And like Fimorth said, they probably got rid of the amount of display ports they used to give us, outputs on the cards, just because of miners, which require less of those. And probably the same with, you know, for AI application as well. They just need the pure processing, so maybe they got rid of the ports because they're one of their customer bases doesn't need as many anymore, and they're still going to sell anyway. They can get rid of a port and save 2p per graphics card or whatever it costs to put an extra port on there. So yeah, well, mic's working now, right? Be embarrassing if it didn't work again. PC looking good, thank you, thank you. So line is closed. Oh yeah, Petite Lolita knows. Line is closed circuit on, circle is open circuit off. That to me, I think circle is complete circuit, so I always get confused. I think a circle, it's like, oh, that's a complete circuit, so the electricity will go... And then I think line is like, oh, that's only a one-way street, so there's going to be no electricity, because... So I always think of it like a circuit diagram, and then I get confused. So you're saying it's the opposite of how I naturally think of it. So that's why I always get confused with that. I always think circle must mean on, because it's a complete circuit. Then I think line must mean a broken circuit. But you're saying it's circle is 0, though line is 1. So it's like, yeah. So you're saying it's like, you know, binary. So in that case, you know, on would be 1, right? Off would be 0. Which is, you know, lines up with Petite Lolita. So I guess I need to think of it in binary. Mr. Vital says, I've never touched AMD with a 7-foot pole before, but now it's real tempting. Yeah, so I switched to AMD as soon as Ryzen released for the and it's been great. Oh my, it's so much better than Intel. Because you know what AMD do? They support the sockets. So you buy a motherboard, say AM4 platform, and then you get so many upgrades on the same motherboard. So you can just keep swapping out the CPU with a better one, a better one, a better one. On Intel, they do a socket refresh like every single time they release a CPU. What the hell is that? And sometimes for only a 5% performance gain. Those cheeky buggers. So it's like every time you get a new CPU, you have to also replace the motherboard with an Intel. I don't know if they still do that, but they were doing that for a long time. AMD, it's like they go, we've released AM4, and it's the socket. And you can use any AM4 CPU on that socket. The AM4 CPU started at the Ryzen 1000 series and ended at the Ryzen 5000 series. That's so many series is in between. Massive performance boost, by the way, going from a Ryzen 1000 to a 5000. So there were, I think, some motherboards that couldn't support the 5000 just because they didn't have enough power to power them. But the motherboards that did have enough power, they gained 5000 support via a BIOS update. So that's pretty amazing. And now AM5 started with the 7000 series. And I think we're still on AM5 for AMD, so they're still releasing AM5 CPUs as far as I know. So pretty cool. I like that they support the socket. It's much better for consumers. Because it means we don't have to keep replacing our motherboard every single time we upgrade a single component, which is dumb. Dummy dumb dumb. Casper says, hate that my GPU only has one HDMI port and one display port. Annoying at first, but it is what it is. Yeah, that is annoying. Oh yeah, so this, by the way, this is a perfect example of AMD upgradability. This motherboard I bought for the 1000 series. So I bought this for my 1700X processor, which was my first AMD processor, first Ryzen. And it's currently got a 3800X. So I've upgraded 2 generations of processor for this machine. So that goes to show the upgradability is so good for consumers, because otherwise I'd have to trash the system, because the 1700 wouldn't be powerful enough for me these days. So if I had to then get a new motherboard for the next gen, this wouldn't be viable. I wouldn't be able to run this machine. I would have had to trash the system or sell the parts for a massive, you know, drop in value, and then buy some new parts, new motherboard and everything. So I missed my stretch redemption, trying to avoid it. Think I'm trying to avoid this? Never. I was just waiting for the perfect moment to stretch. Okay, gamers, so this is all put together. Let's power it on, so I need to find a power cable. Should just have one randomly somewhere. Yeah, I'll have one somewhere. I'll just look in this corner and see if I find one. I thought there was one in that box I just looked in, but there isn't, so I look somewhere else now. Where to look next? I swear I saw one the other day. Still no luck. I'm sure I saw one yesterday though. So, do we have any on my desk? Maybe I chucked it on my desk. Looking for a kettle cable. Kettle League. I think I heard an audible crack there. Oh, in the stretch? Maybe. Possibly. I mean, I do crack, but I don't know if it's audible to other people. It's audible to me. I think I found one. Unfortunately, it has no fuse inside. I think someone stole the fuse out of it. Which also means it doesn't have a fuse cover. But maybe the fuse cover is down here somewhere. I think we do have a spare fuse somewhere. So we can just find the fuse. And I think actually this cable is for this computer. I think it actually is the cable for the computer. We just need to find the fuse cover and the fuse. So yeah, someone's cannibalized the fuse from this. It might have been me at some point when I was desperate, you know. I probably cannibalized the fuse from this when I was desperate for a fuse. But I think we have some fuses somewhere. Probably just takes a 13 amp fuse, right? Probably. Yeah, I think this was for this computer. I just feel like it was. It's a Honeywell cable. Honeywell. Honeywell. Safety mark. Oh, it's a Longwell. Safety mark. From mains plug. Approved by... Yeah, that seems fine. Oh, it's the right type of cable, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, I need to find the fuse and the thing. Bye-bye, I'm going back down now. Meow. Actually, no luck on the fuse cover. That's a shame. I'll probably put a fuse in there and just use it without a fuse cover. What probably happened is, you know, change the fuse and put the fuse cover on the side or something. and then forgot that we did that, and then we lost it. But yeah, I'll just get a fuse. I have to find a fuse. I'll be back in a second. So it turns out all the fuses have been used. Yeah, they've all been used because we have a crappy heater that keeps burning all the fuses up. So all the fuses have been used by that heater. So, I'll have to find a different lead or something. Or maybe cannibalize a fuse out of something else. I found my victim of taking the fuse, so we might be okay. I'm hoping it's a 13 amp fuse, though. This might, if it's not a 13 amp, we won't be able to use it. It might be a 5 amp in here, let's see. It was a 3 amp fuse, so that's not going to be good. So we've got to find a high-powered device that has a 13 amp fuse. Oh, God. Or I need to find another cable. I probably have another cable somewhere. Hey, thank you for the how do you know I'm so thirsty, and how do you know? Thank you for the redemption zone. Thank you for the hydrates. I'm very thirsty. By the way, I took a fuse out of the heater, and the fuse was very hot, and burned me, and also exploded. Because the heater was being used, and I took the fuse out, like, so I unplugged it and took the fuse out, and it was very hot. Because that heater just kind of, like, destroys fuses. I'm convinced this streamer is a mad scientist, yes. Chug, chug, chug. Hey T-Smooth, how you doing? What kind of plug takes a fuse? I've never seen that before. You've never seen a fuse in a plug? Someone stole the fuse. Well, yeah, because my girlfriend wanted her heater to work, so we stole the fuse out of a cable. And it turns out to be the cable I need right now. Thinking if where more cables would be. There are a few places in this room they might be. I'll check. I mean, we gotta have some spare casual leads somewhere. We gotta have them somewhere. It is funny how many, what do you call it, hurdles I've had to do with this PC. How many hurdles I've had to overcome. I mean, it's like every time we try to do something, I'm like, oh, I need this and I don't have it. So now we are at another hurdle with the power supply cable. We don't have one here. Might have one somewhere. I don't know where we would have one though. Probably have to go rifling around some boxes again. Find one. Yep. I think gamers. Yeah, otherwise, I think you'll have to be too patient with me if I go looking for this, so I think we'll have to end the stream there for now. But the PC build is finished. So the PC build is lovely and finished. Let's show this. There we go, PC build all ready. Just need to see if it turns on, so I will find a lead. I'll find a lead for this, and I'll update on the Discord whether it turned on or not. And you will know. You will be told. So yeah, I think I'll end stream now. I'll get the stream PC all ready tonight. I'll let you know if it turned on and everything. So when it turns on, basically what will happen is the fans either turn on and it boots and posts, or it doesn't. So we'll see. Have a good day, mate. It's been a great stream. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Thank you for joining the stream today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my rants about PC building, etc. We've finished the stream PC, we finished the main PC, so now we just need to get them turned on and running. There will be a cable somewhere in this house, I'm sure. There's got to be a spare cable. If there's not, I'll be very surprised. I've built so many PCs in this house. There's got to be some spare cables around. You might need an organizer. So I think this is the struggle of building PCs using older parts. You kind of forget where you put some of the old parts. So that's the issue I had with this PC. I just, you know, I've been wanting to build this for 2 years or something, but the parts have been placed all over the place, so that's what happened. So for example, this cable, I didn't even remember what that was for when we took the fuse from it. I didn't remember it was for this PC, but I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, that was an issue. So we don't have a power cable right now, but I will find one somewhere in the house, I'm sure. I just don't want to leave you hanging for so long. Bye everyone, bye-bye, bye-bye. So how many people do we have on Twitch? Do we have enough to do a raid? We have 14. Let's raid someone. Maybe there's someone else building a PC we can raid. So let's try and find someone else building a PC on Twitch. That sounds fun. Yeah, so it was me that stole the fuse, I think, but it was from my girlfriend's heater. Her electric heater that is definitely not certified to be a thing that's turned on in the house. I think it's dangerous, that thing. I don't like it. It burns through fuses like... It eats a fuse like every week. Hey, Tonin. What's the config of this PC? RDX 2080 graphics card. Ryzen 3800X CPU. 64 gig of 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM. We got some Corsair fans in the top. We got some Casa fans in the front. We got a Thermalright Peerless Assassin CPU cooler on the CPU. We got a capture card for capturing games, because this will be my stream PC, so it's going to capture all the stuff and send it out via the internet to you guys. And pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's all the specs apart from the SSD it has, which is 2 terabyte, and the hard drive, which is 16 terabyte, for storing all of the stream VODs, because those take up a lot of space over time. So yeah, those are all the specs, guys, and I think this PC is done. I think it will turn on if we give it some power, but I need to find a power cable. Yeah, thank you for keeping me company this stream. It's been super, super fun. I will raid someone now, but before that, let's do the old outro. So gamers, thank you so much for being here, watching my stream PC build. We finally finished. It took us 5 parts, but we finally finished these builds, and they're going to be used to create much more content over the next years to come. It's going to be some good years, I'm sure. Yeah, thank you for the support as well today, guys. We got quite a bit of support. Thank you for the tier 1 subs that were gifted today, and the prime subs that came as well, and the bits as well. From Sir Knight Creepy, thank you for the bits once again, 1,000 bits. That goes down pretty smooth. And if you're watching YouTube and enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell button. My socials are down there in the description box. Join the Discord if you're not joined already. And until next time, bye. Bye, guys. But first, raid. Remember, we're raiding. Koroku out. Yeah. We're going to raid someone. We're going to find someone building a stream PC as well. If we can. So, raid. Raid. Search. We're going to search for stream PC build. It's just going to come up with me only on the website. See if anyone's got a stream PC build. No channels found. Wait, have I done that wrong? Have I got to search like a tag? Okay, that's not going to work. So tag PC building. PC building. I find some. Horus build by CLX Gaming. Okay, I found someone actually building a PC. I found someone building a PC. So here we go. We're gonna raid this dude. Whoa. Hang on, I'm gonna put my headphones on so I can hear. These headphones are backwards. Hang on. Can't wait to tidy my room after this stream PC, Bob. My room is such a mess.
bicycles. I know those. Well, let's build a computer.
Let's build a computer, he says. There he is. I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna be really big.
I really just kind of
no green screen.
stripping them down.
I forgot about that. So we can't be big.
Makes it easy to know what you got,
So yeah, this guy's building a PC. Looks like he knows what he's doing. He's got nice long hair. I hope he's a nice dude. Let's raid this guy because he's the only guy on Twitch that's building a PC, or at least using the tags PC builder that I could find. So let's raid him. Not raid. Everyone jump in the raid.
Plethora.
Jump in the raid. Oh no, we're lagging. I wonder if you guys are lagging too on his stream. I'm lagging. So we all in the raid. 12 viewers raiding in 1 minute. Okay, let's raid. 12 more viewers for CLX Gaming. Hope they appreciate.
Dark in a white build, but I do enjoy. This will look pretty good with the cross colors of everything. Nice. Thank you for rating us. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. I'm just building a sweet MSI build with a Founders Edition 4070 on it, and we're just getting started. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Case cables can usually be pretty finicky. Sometimes there can be none, other times there can be a lot of cables. I kind of enjoy getting everything just kind of separated and straightened out. It makes it a lot easier to manipulate and work with later on. If you've got a cable that's all kinked up and bent up and twisted and wrapped around in multiple ways, kind of makes it a little bit difficult to get that cable where you want it to go. So I really just like getting them looking pretty beforehand, before even starting. How many of you guys were here on Thursday and watched me build the system in reverse order? And then how many of you guys saw that and was like, yeah, that is kind of difficult building that way. I'm going to build the other way. So essentially I did.
Okay gamers, I'm going to leave you here with CLX Gaming TV. Thank you so much for joining today. Bye-bye for real now. I don't know if there'll be another stream tonight. Probably not because it's quite late. But there will be a stream tomorrow. See you guys then. And see you in the Discord.